I did it that time. Thanks me.
I don't know what just happened.
I don't know. I was trying to do the intro, but I need to find a seamless way to do the countdown and then the actual intro. I need to edit together an actual intro. That's the thing. You know, where it plays and it's longer than
Luke
like
is pretty
5
good at
seconds.
that.
Yeah. I have some ideas, but Luke's busy, and anytime if I
Yeah.
wanted to ask him something, I would always feel like, well, I'm having him do this instead of the actual art for a book
Yeah.
that we're paying him for. So it's like, I'm not gonna pay him to do editing if I can just get off my ass and do it myself. So, anyways, welcome to Shattermare Live, episode 16.
Woo!
Woo! I'm Brian.
Whoop,
I'm
whoop.
joined by my esteemed hosts, co-hosts, William and Kyle. How you
Hello,
guys
everyone.
I'm Kyle.
doing? Hello.
And figure out the rest.
Yeah, with typical energy. Although we were talking before we went live, and seems like this week's been kind of a slow news cycle for stuff that we're interested to talk about. So I should have really titled this just like this is probably going to be a chill stream where we just kind of ramble and talk about what we think about and what comes up, and maybe we'll finish on time tonight. I don't know, but we started on time, so that's good. I think everyone who watches this expects us to start at like 9 p.m. You know. So, anyways,
All
how are you guys doing?
Good.
How's your
Good.
week?
I don't know if it was a slow week, but I don't know. It's very political. Everything's political now, and
Everything is. It's people's whole lives, man. I mean, we just finished the Olympics. That was cool. I was telling William how I started up sports betting because there's basically a tranny in the female boxing in Olympics. You know, I guess people are arguing over like people like to do this weird thing where they like autistically argue over like to defend a position that they're
yeah,
like
whether
really wrong
something's a
about.
man or a woman, it's pretty
Right.
easy to
Like,
figure out.
they're like, oh well, the guy was like born as sex but is a hermaphrodite or what. So it's like, bro, the guy went through puberty. Like, it's a man, baby. Like it's a fucking man. Like if you test the guy for testosterone, there's gonna be
XY
a
chromosomes.
yeah, it's an XY chromosome. So, anyways, my point is,
So this is how we're opening.
yeah. Well, look again. People like to get polite, but you guys know what I'm talking about. People will be like, "Well, they'll like to push their glasses up or whatever, and be like, well, technically, this person wasn't a trans man or trans woman. They're blah 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 blah." It's like that. Yeah, that's besides the point, dipshit. Like this person has levels of testosterone which already got them banned in the female league of their own country or whatever their international promotional boxing league is, and so it's super liberal France that was like, yeah, come on in the Olympics.
Well, and
company.
from what I heard, you can, if they take enough estrogen, they can get their levels low enough for the testing, but then they stop taking it, and so by the time they have to actually compete, their testosterone is back up.
Yeah, it just resets, it rebalances, which is hilarious because A, they don't have to take steroids; they're just not taking
it's natural
handicap blockers, and B, like by definition, you're already admitting that okay, this person's way stronger than females. There's a huge difference here because we have to nerf them by putting them on estrogen. It's like obviously. Anyway, so I all of that really is just for me to say I got into sports betting because now every time I see like a trans woman in any sport, even besides the Olympics, if it's like boxing, swimming, like if I could bet on college swimming, like I'm betting on the trans the trans woman every single time, 120%. It's just
You
easy.
You should make a blog about that and track everything.
Just track it, or do like on Substack.
Yeah.
We'll get more subscribers to that than our Patreon for comic books. Yeah, start like a Substack.
And you know how it's not the other way around, right? It's not.
Yeah, of course, because it's just not reality.
Right.
Like, obviously. Duh. But yeah, and then so the sports betting, so I got into late because the sports betting websites, they took all that guy's matches down. Even though he went on to win gold or whatever, right? I think he just straight up dominated. Like, no one even. I think he had like one other fight after that first one, but yeah, they took it down. I think even the original one, while it was live, it ended up being like negative thousands of odds. So you would make like pennies on it. But yeah, they just delisted it because when money actually, like, money talks and bullshit walks, you know what I mean? So when shit hits the fan, they're like, oh shit, we're not going to lose all the money because everyone's going to bet for this guy all the time. But the question is, can they track all of the trans women? and my guess is no, they can't track all the trans women, and they can't.
And now that guy is suing.
Not Wall Street.
He's suing Elon Musk and J.K. Rowling and other people for cyberbullying.
Yeah, I think it's great. Look, you allow these people, we as a society allow these people to just get away with all kinds of bullshit. So, yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Who cares? Like, J.K. Rowling gets thrown under the bus. People go after Elon Musk. Like, whatever. I just don't have any energy to give a shit about it anymore. I'm just like, okay, well, until we come together as a society and finally deal with this and do something about it, it's like you're just shouting into the wind. You might as well just can't beat them, join them.
Even
start waving the bacon flag of victory.
My prediction was, because we were talking about this in real time, and if, let's say, God forbid, guy goes in the ring and fucking kills a chick.
Yeah.
You know what they're going to do? They're not going to blame their choices. They're just going to say boxing is violent, and then we have to ban it from the Olympics.
Yeah, of course.
That's what they'll do.
Or they'll blame the woman. And then when I laugh and go, oh, this is hilarious, they'll go, oh, man, you're horrible. And I'm like, what do you mean I'm horrible? I wasn't the guy who put on a wig and killed that girl.
Yeah.
I didn't let someone get murdered, like the fucking volleyball thing that people mentioned, Like, apparently some trans woman, like, creamed a girl, like, spiked the ball in her face and, like, paralyzed her or something.
Yeah.
And I would have to actually Google it, so don't quote me. But he either completely fucked her up and ruined her life, like, physically. She was basically a vegetable, or just killed her.
And I think there was a soccer incident too.
Yeah, that's what you get. Yeah, so I think it's funny.
This is where feminism gets you, girls.
This is equality.
Men cannot fix this. Women have to fix it. Men can't fix it.
Men could fix it. I mean,
we could, but we won't, because then we'll be called whatever.
Yeah.
So,
the fact that
hear me out, we can fix it by becoming women.
Yeah, that's how we're fixing it.
And that is, yeah.
We're not gonna beat them. We're just gonna join them. And by beat them, I don't mean like politically. I mean, like
South Park.
I mean, like
South Park literally spoofed this with that. They had Macho Man Randy Savage, and he's beating the shit out of women and doing, and it was just hilarious. I'm a woman, ooh. And here we are. I mean,
women aren't going to do anything about it because they're too social. They're social creatures. Like that girl who was like, oh, I'm just quitting this match because I'm getting destroyed, didn't come out and all of a sudden be like, yeah, this is retarded and we should. No, she was like,
she initially did. She initially did, and then they put pressure on her, cancel pressure to apologize.
Yeah, whatever. They put like a minimum amount of social pressure on her, and she backpedaled like that day or the next day. So like women aren't going to stand up for this. They're just going to let it happen. But I guess at that point, women's sports will just become all trans women, which
Well, they
I
don't
guess
want to. They don't want to get like J.K.
that's
Rowling.
fine.
So
Yeah,
they're not
that's
gonna...
fine. So I guess the WNBA will be watchable in like 5 years. That's all that really means. I don't know. I
Hey,
don't really
Caitlin
care.
Clark's good.
Yeah, she's actually pretty good.
Yeah,
And all the
she
women
wasn't
are trying to
invited to
fucking
the
hinder
NBA.
her.
She wasn't invited to the Olympics because she's white.
Well, also all the women
I don't
are
know enough to comment on that.
Yeah,
Well,
I don't
no,
know.
seriously,
no, the
there's a lot
problem in the WNBA is that like a lot of the apparently there's like an anti-straight like sentiment in the WNBA because so many of the women are, not
lesbians?
straight.
Sure.
So
I mean,
they're kind of jealous. They're kind of jealous of Caitlin Clark, so they hate on her.
yeah, they're super jealous. Let me explain to you politics of anything run by women. Like it's literally crabs in a bucket. Like she comes
Yeah.
in, she's like a first draft out of college, right? Or she's like super fresh. So they go to WNBA rookie, right? Like this is her first year, and she's crushing it, and she's finally bringing attention. And you'd think like, oh yeah, that like that what's the rising tide
Rising
raises all
tide,
boats in the harbor
yeah.
or whatever. No, all they try to do is foul her out of the game. Like they're literally trying to like break her leg and foul her out of the game and injure her because these bitches are so jealous that this girl shows up and is actually really good at the game to the point where like men
People are
in the
paying
NBA,
attention to.
Yeah,
people are actually watching
she's
the
got
fucking
sick game, dude. She's got sick game,
Yeah.
not just for a girl. Her game is on point.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, she's getting praised by like NBA players, and they're doing all kinds of like interviews and highlight reels and now and stuff. And yeah, so what are they doing? Crabs in the bucket. Oh, let's just drag her down because we don't want to actually compete and like be better and like rise to the occasion of like her level. Let's just drag her down. Let's bar her from competing in the Olympics, even though she's probably hands down the best WNBA player already.
She is.
Like,
and there were people on ESPN who said that you guys are crazy for not taking her and you get what you deserve because I don't think they won.
Oh, yeah, they probably got wrecked, right? I don't know.
So,
again, I didn't watch it. I bet on the
somebody like
league.
Stephen A. Smith just saying you people are crazy. Not only could you have marketed this thing because she's a marketing bonanza right now for the WNBA, but she's got sick game. But the head coach of the team hates her.
Yeah, exactly.
Just it's all politics and she's not good enough. And it's like, dude, she's like the Jordan of your league. And you can't see that.
Well, they can. It's just again, they're crabs in a bucket because their mentality is all envy, So they're like, oh, we have to drag this person down. They acknowledge that she's really good. She's like the Jordan of their league. The problem is in their mind, they're so pessimistic and negative and envious. They don't think, oh man, look at all the follow-on benefits that this is going to bring us. All they think is, oh, we got to hide her. She's making us look bad because they're like ridiculously insecure. Anyways, I was watching the guys' game against France, and holy shit, chicken curry was just that's what we were calling
Steph Curry.
Steph Curry, yeah. We were like, my wife and I were like, fucking chicken curry just sank like the 4-3 in a row. Holy shit.
That's what he does.
And because I had the sports betting account because of the fucking boxing.
Did you bet on that game too?
I bet on that game, yeah. It was like third quarter. I won like $2, It wasn't that much, but auto win, free money. You know what I mean? But the France was keeping up. They weren't good. But it to me, it's like this is a perception of a layman that has no. People are going to roast me and be like, "Oh, this is France." But to me, the France team looked like the equivalent of one city team. Like the France team was like France's basketball team, and the American team was like the Globetrotters. It was like the all-star team.
Yeah.
Of like every ridiculously good American.
I would argue basketball is more than just the names. It's about how everyone the chemistry of the team and how they vibe with each other and everything.
Yeah,
having
they only
all
had
the star
3
players.
weeks. They only had
but the rest of the world is catching up to America in basketball. Like if you look at the NBA draft, you'll see more and more foreign players being taken in like the top 10 picks.
Yeah,
especially like the French and you see a lot of French people getting drafted. Yeah, it's not just. It used to be just like also like you have foreign people get drafted, but it was only like the tall people, like the Yao Mings of the world, But now you have like guards and stuff getting drafted. Like people that are getting drafted because of their talent, not because they won the genetic lottery.
Yeah, like they're the makeup of an actual team.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like I drafted 10 Shaquille O'Neals, you know what I mean?
And they're coached, whereas like how do you coach a bunch of all-stars? Like it's just kind of like 1, 2, 3, go.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Yeah, it looks like they were making a lot of their own decisions. But I guess one of the coaches they did bring in was the coach of the Miami Heat. It seemed like they brought in coaches that have worked with these guys. You know what I mean? So like when like 2 or 3 of the players have been on the same team for a championship or whatever, it's like, oh, bring in this guy. He knows LeBron and these guys. Yeah, some of those guys weren't great. When you put them all on a team, they still have to work well together, which they did. LeBron wasn't trying to go for a layup every time he had the ball. Like, he passed it. Like, him and Steph Curry were doing pretty well. So, anyways, back to comics on our comic show.
Well, to finish up the Olympics, so we were on,
yeah,
what was it? Topic list last night. We had a couple of Australians, and of course, we can't go without talking about the Australian break dancer.
Can we look up a clip of that? I haven't seen what everyone's talking about.
I sent you the meme on Twitter. There's a windshield wiper of her going around that you can buy.
Let me look at this. Was she the stupid bitch that was twerking during the breakdancing or something? Or were those the runners?
Just look up Australian breakdancing chick and it should come up. But this is against the background of Australia winning the most medals they ever have in an Olympics.
Okay.
It's their best medal count ever as a country. So something that really should be celebrated and something they should be very proud of.
Yeah.
But yet when you bring up Australian Olympics, you get this troll, which is she's basically doing what Alex Stein would do.
Really? Embarrassing Australia's Olympic break. I have Sky News Australia. I've got ISO Core Gaming. Okay, one of these is only a minute 45.
Yeah, it's not that long of a routine.
Okay, we'll watch this person's video. Hold on. All right, here we go. No thanks. All right, am I sharing?
Yeah.
Okay. What's happening? There's no sound in this guy's video? Oh my god. Just watch Sky News.
You're really making all of this by hand.
Oh yeah, the avocado.
Yeah, here we go. We're cooking show now.
Hold on.
Sounds delicious.
Okay. Look, I'm as ready to applaud someone having a go as the next person, but that doesn't mean that every child must win a prize. One of those new sports introduced to us at Paris. At best, it's a cross between dancing and gymnastics. I mean, what you can see there is some brilliant people at a recent Red Bull competition. That's what it's supposed to look like. Unfortunately, our competitor, Rachel Gunn, a 36-year-old university lecturer who wrote her thesis on gender in Sydney's breakdancing scene, she got precisely 0 points in 3 rounds of competition. But anyone who says that she's a pretty ordinary performer, those criticisms have been called out as misogynist.
Of course.
We want to compete. Decision.
Okay, I just want to see the video. I don't want to. I don't need your fucking.
There's one on you. There's got to be one. Yeah, right
okay,
there.
Here we go. All right, there's no sound. Okay, fine. Okay. So, oh wow. Okay.
Hello everybody. Welcome to my
Oh
channel.
my god.
No.
Can you just play the video?
Commentary. We're supposed to be giving the commentary, not you.
I know, bro. Put those finger guns away.
Bye bye.
Okay, well there you go. He's listening.
Goodbye. I mean, this is pretty much what I would expect from like a gender studies woman.
Yeah.
Doing breakdancing.
That's like me.
Or a child.
Yeah, but you've never breakdanced before, so this
exactly.
is just like,
yeah.
So this is obviously someone.
Well, apparently there's rumor that she made herself head of the committee and then selected herself. You know,
of course, it's always super corrupt. Yeah, so this is just like
those aren't even the worst parts. I watched this shit live.
Oh really?
Yeah, no, I just so happened to be on TV when like I had a second and watched, and there was like a really good one right before, like a good matchup before this, and this came on. I'm like, there's something wrong here. Is this a joke?
Yeah, no, she's just dumb. And then when people laugh at her, and meme on her, then she's like, "Oh, well, you're just all misogynist."
Serbia and
did she say that?
She's just again. I think she's trolling.
I'm guessing.
You know, and it's sad because Australia had like their best Olympics, and that's not what
is she
people are
trolling,
talking.
Or is she just shitty?
You know, that is the debate. That is the
I think the participation is the trolling part. The lack of talent is just lack
a
of
lot
talent.
A lot of people they'll do something and they're shitty, but they have so much pride they think like they should actually be taken seriously for some reason. And then when they're confronted with like how obviously shitty they are and they terrible and people will acknowledge it, then they fall back on like, oh nah, bro, I was just doing some trolling.
Yeah, I mean, some people don't know they suck. They have no self-awareness, and she obviously does. So maybe no one told her, or she really is trolling and making fun of the culture. That is breakdancing is pretty much was, at least when I grew up, it was mainly Latino and black.
Yeah.
And not that anybody couldn't do it, but that was mainly the people who were doing it and doing it well.
Yeah, it's like that person said at the beginning. It's kind of like hip hop dancing mixed with like some gymnastics.
Yeah, there's definitely an acrobatic way to do it. And so is she mocking the culture, or does she just not know she sucks?
Well, she's a mockery. Like her attempting to do it is a mockery of the culture. You know, like God, I keep saying tonight.
But you know, you imagine if it was a white guy doing it.
He'd probably be good at it.
But no. What if a white guy like an Alex Stein went out there and mocked it? Like, because
he'd probably get laughed out of the room just as much as she is.
Yeah.
I have no comment other than the fact that she's really bad and should not be there.
Yeah, I mean, she's just awful. I just think that a lot of these people, like, they're so arrogant. They don't. Cause obviously, she didn't practice, or she's not in good enough shape to do it. She is just some college lecturer, and she did a thesis on it. So she's just like a tourist of breakdancing.
Yeah.
And then she actually thought, oh, I'm actually going to do that. That'd be like me watching fucking Kill Tony.
Cultural appropriation.
Yeah, whatever. It'd be like me watching Kill Tony and then being like, oh, my man, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go up there. I'm going to do a fucking minute of stand-up. And then I don't prepare. I don't do any open mics. I just, for some reason, think, oh, man, I've just watched people do this. I must now be good at comedy. So I'm going to go up there, and then I totally fucking bomb, and I'm just getting roasted left and right. They're like, oh, look at this dumb bitch. And then I get mad, and I'm like, oh, you just fucking hate me because I'm white. You just hate me because I'm a trans woman. Like, no, we hate you because you're fucking awful. Get off of the stage and never come back. You know, like,
well, it's just
don't
how
let
we.
these people hide.
Look, we criticize a lot of these shows and whatnot because they're terrible, not because they star, a person of color or this or that. It's because they legitimately are terrible.
Yeah, but don't let them hide behind that.
But that's what they do. That's their goal, to hide behind the woman or the gay or the black person or whatever.
Why are you
in the
listening
show.
to them? Say, shut up, bitch. You're fucking awful. Don't ever come here to breakdance again. That's it. That's all that's all you have to say.
I mean, there used to be gatekeeping in the Olympics. Like, imagine, because they have golf in the Olympics, and sometimes I'll go out with the guys and play golf. And we're lucky to break 100. We're hitting fucking trees, slamming beers, smoking cigars, leaving divots, yelling at motherfuckers. That's me and the boys playing golf. Imagine they let us play golf in the Olympics. It'd be fucking hilarious.
Yeah. Well, they have a place for her. I think those Olympics are about to start next week, right?
Yeah.
The
Special
Olympics. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, that was pretty bad. Yeah, they should be laughing.
But the funny or unfunny thing is that, again, Australia had their best Olympics ever, but that's what people are going to talk about. So it kind of sucks that she stole the shine.
She gets all the attention now because she never had a father, even the negative attention. And now all the athletes, men and women, who did well in their division or their sport or whatever, they get outshined by some fucking retard.
Yeah.
Fucking retarded gender study. I'm just assuming she was like a gender studies major. I don't know that for a fact. I'm just saying.
She pretty much is. She has the people called it a useless PhD.
Some diversity.
Basically an activism or active whatever. Like she's just an activist, and
and she snuck her way in, and she got her 15 minutes of fame. So good job, I guess. I don't know. I hope it works out for you.
I heard they're removing breakdancing for the next Olympics.
They are.
Yeah. Oh, so she ruined it for everybody then. Well,
so they didn't have baseball, but they.
Well, from what I heard, that they added it only because France requested it, but I can't say that's true or not. But
they don't have parkour. This is like the best they could get. They're like, we want parkour in the Olympics, and they're like, no. They're like, well,
did they ask for parkour?
No,
that would be interesting.
I'm just making. I'm improving. But then they're like, oh, can we get breakdancing? And they're like, fine. And they're like, yeah.
No, but they didn't have baseball, and baseball historically was a good Olympic sport. And I think when they brought on in 2000, things like that,
Yeah, the two sports to me that would make more sense to be in the Olympics that aren't there are baseball and like MMA.
Yeah, MMA. I thought by now.
Because MMA is like international. Like you have your Muay Thai people from like Brazil or whatever, and
don't they have like Olympic karate?
They have judo.
Oh, they have judo. I think they did have taekwondo. I think they did have taekwondo.
I mean, they have Greco-Roman wrestling in the Olympics.
Yeah, they were talking about taking that out at one point, which is wild.
Literally the
most
the origin of the Olympics.
Yeah.
After they did that like obnoxious, self-indulgent closing ceremony where they're like, oh, in the future, in a post-apocalypse, this traveler rediscovers the Olympics. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I think they should just go back to like the basic Olympic sports that they've had in there.
Yeah, I do too.
I don't know. I mean, it's not like you can't. It's not like they don't already have World Cups in multiple sports.
And I'm kind of against the whole pro basketball players in the Olympics because it used to be collegiates.
Yeah, like all amateurs.
88.
Yeah, you used to not. If you're a professional, you couldn't do that.
Yeah.
And
then in '92, they came up with the Dream Team, which is fun to watch and fun for everybody, but it was it was ridiculous. It was, men against boys, and
yeah, I mean, I
think just give the college kids something to shoot for, or the.
I mean, I don't think that matters. Like, if you're getting paid, you're a professional basketball player, football player, soccer, football, whatever. Like, you should be able to compete for your country. You know what I mean? Like, but I just don't think
there's the whole pro versus amateur thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, who cares? Like, they should have the best people competing in the country. I mean, this is like a world competition, Yeah. So, like, if you're an amateur, I mean, a lot of these that aren't already professional sports or don't have the marketing and advertising or professional sport, I assume they're like training camps, and you find somebody and it's like, oh, I want to compete in the Olympics for swimming. And so, or like, I want to do track and field. So like, you find people in like the American Olympic Committee or whatever, you find trainers, and they're like, okay, well, what did you do in, college or whatever, high school? Like, okay, great. You can qualify. Like, you just find people.
Yeah, no, there's camps. I mean, there's definitely camps in teams, track and field teams, swimming teams. They compete throughout the year.
So, I mean, there shouldn't be a reason why you couldn't do that also for stuff that's professional. It's just like, it's going to overshadow the amateur because people, generally speaking, if you're a professional athlete and you're like the highest level athlete in your country, you're going to be good. Like, that's the whole point of the free market. Like, everyone's competing literally in competitive sports, and you're getting paid the most money in the world for your sport to play it at the highest level because you're really good. It's like that should already kind of be filtering people in,
Huh,
But
we'll see.
What do I know? I don't know. Yeah, so that was a fun cringe video. It wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. I thought it would be like
there's worse. It gets worse. They didn't pick the best clips to illustrate.
I assume if she was really trolling,
she tries the running on the floor thing, where you lay down and you look like you're running on the floor, but like really, really bad.
Oh, and she looks like the drunk 40-year-old guy at a wedding. He's just like spinning around.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like in Wedding Crashes or whatever. Was that Wedding Crashers? I don't know. But yeah. I don't know. Well, good for them. They banned breakdancing. It was so bad. Maybe they'll learn their lesson and they'll come back and they won't ever allow someone like that in again. I don't know. I don't know. What else do you guys want to talk about? Oh, you remember a few weeks back when I predicted the Borderlands movie was going to suck asshole, and it was just awful, and the casting didn't make fucking sense, and it looked like they're phoning everything in, and
I think we're all kind of looking ahead at that and saying,
and it looked like a kind of watered down, weird version of the games without any of the like the intensity or the it was shitty comedy because it's not. They're like, there's no stakes. It's not like, oh, haha, but you could die because you're in like a wasteland, or like the fighting the corporation for the treasure or whatever. Yeah, it turns out we were all pretty much right. We don't know how right we were gonna be because holy shit, apparently that movie is completely bombed. Like, the budget for that movie is like 130, people are saying, like 130 million, like 140 million.
I think something like that. It might even be more than that.
And opening weekend, it made like $8 million. So, and it's got all the most awful reviews, I think, across the board. We could look it up, but anyways, yeah, it looked like they just soaked all of the interesting and fun. Like, it had everything going against it.
So right now, it's made a total of just under 18 million as of right now.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. So it's gonna lose like all the money, half its budget probably by the time
more than it's just going down. Right now, it's number 6. Twisters, Twisters is ahead of it. And you can get that on streaming right now.
Yeah, it's still got to compete against Twisters and Wolverine and Deadpool.
Because Despicable Me 4 is up there.
Yeah.
Something called It Ends With Us, whatever that is.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. I mean, you're going to have more crossover between, people who are watching Wolverine Deadpool than any of those other movies, and none of us are going to see it because it looks like it fucking sucks, and it does. So.
No, it's a rated R game that really didn't have, the best of stories, to be honest with you.
Yeah, people are criticizing the plot, but like the plots of the games are pretty simple.
Yeah.
So it's okay. Like the point of the game is, we've got to go figure out this vault because it's like alien technology or people who've been here long before. You don't exactly know what the time frame is of the games, like where humanity is at. Obviously, like we're a spacefaring civilization, but because like people develop kind of superpowers and stuff. Whatever. If you haven't played Borderlands, you should.
I played the first one.
Yeah, but I'm saying like it's not a big spoiler at this point to know that you've got people like Lilith who are superpowered, and also the weird thing is I heard like they made Tiny Tina.
Like I mean, we watched the trailer. We saw that.
Yeah, but she wasn't just like there. Like in the game, she's just kind of there. She's just like a character you beat, and you don't have to deal with her dumbass the whole game. You also don't have to deal with Claptrap's dumbass the whole game. Like you get them in spurts, which makes them tolerable, But in the movie, I heard she's like the guy's making a joke that she's literally the girl that's the key to everything because she's in her DNA. She's the key to the vault.
Right.
Like she opens the vault.
Yeah, Critical Drinker goes into that.
Yeah.
It's funny how Critical Drinker gives spoiler-free reviews, but he always drops a few spoilers.
Yeah, if you're talking about the plot, it's kind of hard not to.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty bad. I mean, so again, the plot in the games aren't, on their, at least on their face too, they're not too deep. So when he made that comment, because I watched his video, I'm thinking like, did you even play the games, or are you just reviewing this as a movie and not even comparing it to the games? I don't know. It's whatever, but yeah, it's kind of a disappointment. I mean,
it's PG-13 when it should be rated R. So there's a lot of action, but there's not really, again, stakes or a sense of violence.
Yeah. Which they try to trick you and get around that because in the trailer it was mostly like monster guts and stuff they were blowing up and like explosions. But yeah, your brain just turns off because you're like, this is all CGI violence and it doesn't look real.
You're watching a video game and you're just not invested.
And there's much better video games I could be playing. So, well, that's disappointing. Another one. Didn't you say, we were talking before we got on stream, they started developing this movie in like 2013 or something?
That's what I heard. I heard it was greenlit in 2013 and then it just kind of entered development hell, and then in 2019 it was revived, and this is what they give us. I don't know.
They just needed to finish this movie, apparently.
I have no idea why they even released it. I'm sure if they could have probably pulled it back, they would have. Let's see who released it. What?
Yeah, I mean,
Lionsgate. So it's Lionsgate Films.
Oh wow.
So,
yeah, I believe they started in 2013 because that's when Borderlands 2 popped off. That's the
Borderlands 3 really left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouth because it was progressive and woke and it took a departure. From what I understand, I never bothered with it, and so they were probably going to strike while the iron was hot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they would have been on the forefront of video game movies too.
I mean, the lead character was a Cate Blanchett. She acts like she doesn't even want to be there. She's 56.
Yeah, I mean, again, the casting is completely retarded. I mean, to be fair, the guy who runs that studio doesn't seem that too intelligent or knows what the fuck he's doing. So I wouldn't be surprised if that guy had a bunch of involvement. Like I could believe either it was just the studio, just this guy's popular, let's put them in so we can try to salvage this dumpster fire, or if it was the guy with the video game on the video game side and he's just starstruck. It's like, oh man, I love Kevin Hart. Will you be in my movie? The movie about my video games. So
I don't know, but it's like, I mean, we just saw Paramount just close their television studios, and God knows what's going to happen. I mean, this puts Star Trek in limbo because
good. I can't wait. I cannot wait for all these.
It's just nothing but stupidity from Disney to Paramount to here to I guess the only people really doing anything smart is on a large scale is Universal. And on a smaller scale, maybe A24.
Yeah, well, or you have like people who license the stuff out now because they're IP farms, or you have like smaller studios where they just get like the chaff. Like when Disney greenlit the X-Men 97, it was like, oh, we don't really expect that to do well, so you can do this. Like here's a pet project, cool, whatever, small budget for animation, cool, here you go. And then they actually get mostly creative control, and turns out to be a great hit with the fans, and then they come in and they immediately fuck it up because they're like, oh, because now it's on their radar, and they're like, oh shit, now we have to oversee what you're doing here. Again, a lot of it just goes back to like the crabs in the bucket. Like, oh, this is doing well, we got to come in and fuck it up. And
yeah, I think X-Men 97 is going to be based on the new X-Men. There was an article about that I'm looking up.
Yeah, that's tough. But obviously, the crabs in the bucket mentality is an awful recipe to run a company that has a profit incentive. Like,
no, they don't have a profit incentive. That's I think that's the main issue.
Well, a bunch of layoffs, studios closing. Like, what needs to happen on a much larger scale to these companies is what happened, like, for example, recently, bring it back to the comic industry. What happened with the IP for like G.I. Joe and Transformers when it moved from, trying to not fuck this up, IDW to Skybound?
Yeah, I think it was IDW.
Yeah, when they lost the rights, it lapsed or fell through, or the company or the people, the owners were just like, you guys are awful. Fuck this. And they gave it to Robert Kirkman, Skybound, I guess not Image, even though he does Skybound stuff through Image. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
it's really his own studio.
Yeah, I guess he's independent of them, even though he publishes a lot of stuff through them. But yeah, and then now I'm hearing great things about it, to the point where I'm like, oh, cool, I'll just pick up the first, whatever Transformers trade, or I'll pick up the G.I. Joe. If this is a good reading, this is a good point to pick it up and start reading. Like, this is what I want to do.
People do it while you can. Do it while it's hot.
Yeah, but
it may turn to shit.
Well, not according to what people are telling me. Like, people I trust, because people who still read modern stuff and pay attention are like, yeah, this is great. This is like classic G.I. Joe.
And we just had the that Batman animated thing by Bruce Timm with all the race and gender swaps, and Bruce Timm comes out and says, well, I gender swap Penguin because Batman doesn't have that good of rogues gallery. Yes.
Okay.
He doesn't have a good rogues gallery, so I had to balance it out, which is the dumbest fucking thing for anybody in comics, especially from the guy who did the original animated series, who should be very familiar. So this is somebody who, again, is lying through his teeth.
Well, he's just virtue signaling.
Yeah.
He's like, he doesn't see. You have to understand, people constantly redefine the meaning of words. So he's not saying like he has a bad rogues galleries and all of his villains are bad and like they suck, and even though all that's complete bullshit, like literally by the definition of the words, he means that he's not saying the quiet part out loud, which is they have a bad rogues gallery because they're not diverse enough. So I'm going to gender swap the penguin.
But there is
the definition of bad is not diverse.
In his head, he's just not saying it literally. He thinks, oh, the rogues gallery is bad because it's not meeting the quota that is expected of me by DC and whoever still runs the animation studio over there.
He's probably being made to do that,
or he's just an old boomer hippie.
Yeah,
and he's just following the latest liberal progressive trend. That's what a lot of those guys do. They have no backbone or spine. Like they just did, like you have think of a good example. I don't know, even the guy who did X-Men, the original 90s show, and just did 97. Like guys like him will say like, oh, it was always like this. It was always about XYZ. But back then, no one thought about it because it wasn't pronounced and everything wasn't about politics. And, at least like if you have a creative person who can write a story, they can infuse right-wing or left-wing politics in the story and still tell a story. Like they could still have characters with different opinions and ideas and conflicts. Yeah. Whereas when they get lazy and old and they're hacks, like they just do stupid shit and lean on the most basic part of their politics. But they can afford to do that because their group is the in group. So all they're doing is virtue signaling to their group of people. Like they don't have to try. You know what I mean? Like they don't have to actually compete.
And they're just deflecting the criticism too. And
and then again, if they fall back on their shield, their victim shield, they hide behind that. So I don't know. To me, it's old hat at this point. But yeah, I haven't watched the Batman animated series. I just know
from what I understand, it's not worth it. Most people can't make it past the first 3 episodes.
Oh, I mean, I might still watch it and see if it's decent storytelling despite the things you're saying. But
people get into this whole, but they make him a detective again, like they did with the Batman movie. Okay, I'm hot take here. I don't give a fuck about him being a fucking detective. I want to see him kick the shit out of motherfuckers and swing on lines and all that shit. I give a fuck about, this bullet. Shit, I'll watch CSI Miami or some bullshit like that if it NYPD Blue.
That is a hot take.
I worked for the DA's office, so I know something about detective work. I've worked with many detectives. That's not what we want. That's not what I want in a Batman.
Don't.
What?
We don't.
Okay,
I want to see a guy whooping ass. I mean, he can still do detective work, but a lot of the detective work he does is dumb. Like in the original Batman movie, he was fucking stupid. At least if you're going to have him do detective work, have an actual detective write the damn thing. Yeah. You're right. Then you might have something. But their idea of detective work into the layperson is eye-rolling to me. It's like, really?
Yeah, to you. Yeah, the more you know about something, the less enjoyable it is. Because the people making that thing generally know sweet fuck all. So it's just people who don't know shit about detective work.
No. Sometimes you suspend your disbelief. I mean, I don't know. Like this is gonna be a weird comparison, but I've played like the Ace Attorney, like Phoenix Wright games, and like you're a lawyer, and you're like a lawyer, but you're also like going out in the field and investigating the crime scene, and it's like that's not how it works, but it's still fun.
Yeah, but
and
I
like the detective stuff, like the Batman detective.
I do too,
stuff.
but
and
I
understand if it's not your cup of tea.
You know what movie gets it right? The detective aspect of it. I'm not shitting you. Fargo. The girl in Fargo actually gets it right, where she gets a lead and then she goes and she asks questions and she gets another lead and she goes and asks some questions and that leads her to this and that leads to that. That's actual detective work. That's actual police work.
Yeah, but that's boring.
Well, that's
so they have to try to find a way. I mean, yeah, I look.
What's like if you watch
like
lawyer movies and you're like you become interested in being a lawyer and then you find out what's actually being a lawyer and you're like, yeah, I'm changing careers.
Yeah. I mean,
no, but I don't mind the detective as long as it's like smartly done. I thought the Batman movie was terrible. He should have figured that out way before who the Riddler was, way before, if he had an IQ above room temperature. So again, from a storytelling standpoint, they blew it. But
he's following along with us because it's year 2 for him, so he's new. But also he cracks skulls in that movie too, though. I have to push back on you. Like, he beats the fuck out of to the point where he has plot armor. Like, holy shit, he fucks people up in that movie, though.
There's a car chase scene that has a lot of explosions and fire.
Yeah, well,
according to everything, Batman has 12 master's degree and a 200 IQ. So I'm serious.
Yeah,
no, I know you're serious, but it's still funny.
Yeah, so there should be no
that's absurd.
Really, you didn't get that clue as I'm watching the movie and I picked it up. A movie I've never seen before, and I picked it up way about an hour and a half before you ever even thought about it.
Mm-hmm. You're talking about the rat, the flying rat.
Yeah. But I mean, again, you can have detective work and the ass kicking, but just make sure the detective work is actually intelligently done, where the audience doesn't know the result before the hero does.
Yeah, that's a balancing act. Because typically the thing about detective stories is it's like, I mean, this would happen in real life, where if someone was going out and committing murders, like the thing that a lot of people criticize Batman for that I always have a problem with is like, oh, he lets so many people die. Like, he's not fucking God. He doesn't have predictive powers. Like, he's a detective. Yeah. So if I'm a serial killer and I go kill somebody, and a detective is trying to follow the clues and like figure out who I am and what my motive is and why I'm killing people. If I go kill 12 more people, like, he still has to figure out who the fuck I am. You know what I mean? Like, I'm setting aside like him putting people in a corrupt jail system where they escape and kill more people. I'm talking about like just the situations where there's like, well, why did you stop the guy, or why didn't you figure out, like, he's still a guy. It's not like he has precognitive superpowers where he's just like,
in previous films and stuff, he still did detective work. I mean, he would do detective work at the Batcave and things like that. I mean, it's not like there was no detective work in any other Batman film, and then the new Batman film is the very first one that ever showed it.
But like, compare it to the Nolan movies. His quote unquote detective work was like, it was just more contrivances. Like, he always had it wasn't him thinking through and figuring stuff out and be like, oh yeah, okay, I see what's happening here. It was him plugging some stuff into a supercomputer, and then the technology, which, to be fair, I mean,
well, there were some times where he'd bounce things off of Alfred, and Alfred would give him a perspective that he hadn't thought of.
I guess, yeah, like when he gives him a big philosophical perspective of the Joker, and he's like, oh, okay, so I have
some guys just want to see the world burn. And,
yeah, I could see that, but like when he's like tracing the bullet fracture in the wall, like, he just he plugs it into a machine, and then it gives him the bullet, like, it recreates the ballistics and the trajectory, and he's like, oh, I know what bullet fired this. It's like, well, yeah, you have a fucking 3D printer that's worth like billions of dollars.
That's his greatest superpower.
Well, but it could be a machine that he designed. So,
but he doesn't say that. No, actually, no. None of it is because it's all from Wayne Tech. Remember?
All it's
stuff,
all,
and then it's all like the it's like the
superpower of privilege.
Yeah.
In those movies, it literally is because it's all the military projects that got defunded or canceled that he just goes in. He's like, "Oh, hey, Lucius, you have a machine for blah blah blah." It's like, "Oh yeah, I do, Mr. Wayne." Oh, great, I'll take it. like that's another write-off for the Wayne Corporation, Wayne Enterprises. Yeah, I don't know.
I thought Batman the Animated Series, the original, did a pretty good job of combining the detective work with the action and.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, even the setting was kind of noir. It was cool because a lot of what people probably complain about looking at it now are like, oh, there's all these women that he's on dates with and worried about dealing with. It's like, yeah, but that's what happens in noir. You have like a attractive woman, either the red herring or the person that's like, oh, I need help.
Yeah,
and you have to interview
femme
people.
fatale or
right. You know
and
what's
of course
funny is that original series that created Harley Quinn, right? Like they
created her.
It did.
And all these like new like series and new like comic books that are trying to like gender swap people to like get female representation, and yet like that series just created an original character and she's like the biggest female comic book character.
Which they gender swap. I think they made her a fat Asian lesbian in this one. I'm not kidding.
Awesome.
So Harley Quinn, she's a overweight.
Had to get some diversity out of it, right?
At least in Joker 2, Lady Gaga will be Harley Quinn.
When's that coming out? Soon, right?
Pretty soon, I think. I'm looking forward to that one. I don't care if it's gay in a musical. I'm gonna watch it. Paula will.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Joker was meant to be a sequel, but we'll see. I mean, it could be.
No, it definitely was not.
I mean, I like the idea that it's a musical. Kind of reminds me of that like Scrubs episode where everyone's like, someone's got like brain damage and everything's a musical. Like everyone's doing a musical number. I don't know if you guys watched Scrubs before.
Yeah, that's probably what this will be like. I mean, they'll probably set it up as like.
Here's the thing: it's either going to be a huge hit, or it's going to be just a catastrophic, memeable disaster. I don't think there's an in between.
I disagree with you. I think it will be either in between or it'll be a hit because that's one of the few movies that has so much goodwill from the first one that people are going to go see it, but it's not going to make like $2 billion or whatever it did. You know what I mean? Like everyone's going to go see it because it's like, oh shit, I actually really enjoyed Joker 1. I'm going to go see 2. And then if it is kind of like a joke, well, we still all want to go see it, so we paid our money. You know what I mean? Like they got our ticket. So
well, it'll be a one and done.
Yeah,
exactly. I think that when a movie gets to $1 billion, I really think it's because of rewatches.
Right, okay. But the budget on the first one was so low, so it like even if it made like 500 million or whatever, let's just say it made like a half of what it made in total, it would have still been a resounding success to them.
Yeah, of course.
To the studio, because they're like, holy shit, we did a low budget quote unquote superhero movie and we made a shitload of money off of this, so make like 8 more. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm just looking at it from the perspective of a business opportunity. Like, they would still be like, even if people are like, and then they would make a third one, and then no one would go see it, and then they go, wait a second, what happened? I thought this movie was a colossal franchise. Why didn't anyone show up to see our movies?
Yeah.
That makes sense. Like,
but it was really supposed to be a one-off in reality.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, the guy who made it, I'm pretty sure.
I don't know. That first one kind of left, or at the very least, they left it open for the sequel towards the end.
Well, I think they left it open for like I think a Batman crossover would fit in at that point.
Yeah, or if they wanted to reboot Batman in that world, not the.
I mean, that would be interesting if I don't know the difference. I don't know the details as far as like movie studios and who's doing what or whatever.
They're not the same.
But it'd be interesting. They're not.
No, like that Joker, the Batman, the newest Batman,
different studios,
and the Justice League. Well, they're all different. Like they're all different continuities.
Okay.
So yeah,
because I don't think anyone's ever done like a superhero trilogy and like a villain specific trilogy and then like cross them over at the end.
Yeah, that would actually be fresh and new and interesting, wouldn't it?
And then you're like really invested in both.
God forbid they do that. Yeah, they build them up and then they have them clash and fight it out. Yeah, that'd be sweet. I mean, if you're gonna do that, the best thing you could do would be the newest Batman, because that's, I guess, the most grounded. Like, there's definitely no Superman and stuff in that.
Well, the best thing you would be able to do is Batman Joker, because they're the number one hero villain combo you're gonna get, really.
Yeah, I think if they did well, I mean, this is just kind of me going based off of the movie setting and stuff. The Joker movie takes place way earlier than the Batman. Maybe not way earlier, but like significantly earlier than the Batman movie does in time, like in the modern history. Like the Batman's a little more modern than the Joker. The Joker is almost like in the 70s or 80s. I mean, he straight up is a grown ass. He's like in his 40s, and he meets Thomas Wayne, and then at the end of Joker, like they allude to Bruce Wayne's parents dying. Like he basically sets off a chain reaction where they have the riots and all the people mobbing the street. Like that's when Thomas and Martha Wayne get shot and killed. So then Bruce is a kid. So then, like,
so how the fuck old is Joker gonna be?
That's what I'm saying. So okay, so hear me out. So this is what they do. They should incorporate the. I guess they have two different options if they're gonna pull from the comics. They could do like the Joker War, or they could do the 3 Joker run. So in the comics, in like pretty recent comic runs, they had different Jokers, and they've had so many Batman continuities. They
had like 3. Wasn't Joker supposed to be 3 people that Batman learned?
Yeah, so they basically integrated that. I don't know what you call it, almost like a fan theory, like a Reddit thread kind of meme. They incorporated that into the actual continuity, so where there really are 3 different Jokers. So like the different so like the different archetypes of Joker that have existed in the DC universe. You know, you have like the Joker that's more of like a clown, and he's like a kind of sadistic, psychopathic clown, and then you have the Joker that's more like the mob boss, which is what that fucking asshole Jared Leto was trying to go for. Yeah. But more like the Jack Nicholson Joker, you know, like the old school Joker in the movies. So you have that Joker, and then you have the Joker that's like the Heath Ledger Joker, where he's like really intelligent and but chaotic, but he's actually really clever and pulling a lot of the strings. Whereas like the jokey Joker is sometimes literally just makes jokes, and he's like from the very beginning era of Batman, where the Joker sometimes just didn't really kill people. Like he was just a comic relief. Like, oh, Batman, I'm gonna tie you up and leave you on train tracks.
Yeah,
like that kind of Joker. So they took all the different personalities or archetypes, whatever you want to call them, the tropes of Joker, and they split them into 3 different people. So Batman finds out, oh, there's really has only been one Joker, and that explains why the Joker can have all of these different plots, and he kills one of them or one of them dies,
and he always gets out of Arkham,
and he always is out of Arkham. So that was like their hat trick of like, oh shit, now we have an excuse to fall back on. So he finds out, and eventually there's like the Joker War, I guess, And so, he ends up dealing with them or whatever, and I think one or two of them kill each other. And so anyways, if they did that but crossed over the Batman and the Joker movies, but they pulled from those modern comics as inspiration, because they weren't terrible. Like, they're okay.
No, it was kind of before the DC went off the rails.
Yeah, and so like I think that you could have a pretty good movie that, especially if you did a really good job of not leaking information, like making sure the information didn't leak out, and so it was like a total surprise. There was no advertising of like, oh, what's his name's Joker is going to be in it. It was like another Joker, and then what's his name, Joaquin Phoenix is like in a crutch or something, is like an old man behind the bars, and then he comes out.
And then when you got to Batman Beyond, Joker was basically a gang.
Yeah, it became the Joker gang.
Yeah,
and then they do revive him, like they do resurrect him at some point, in like a movie, like a Batman Beyond movie. I think they use the Lazarus Pit or something. I don't know. I might be pulling that out of my ass, but they basically actually bring it back, and they're like, "Oh no!" And then it's him versus Batman again or whatever. But yeah, so yeah,
actually, a Batman Beyond movie would be a nice breath of fresh air if they stay true to the animated series. I think it's got your diversity in it. There you go. You could have Ben Affleck.
But could we add more?
Yeah, can we add more? And it's got cool new tech. It's a different world. You can put Ben Affleck as the old Bruce Wayne.
That'd be cool. And you could do a Static Shock tie-in and spin it off with Static Shock.
Fuck, I'm down with that. See, there's something fresh and new that has all your diversity, has all your this. Just stay true to the comics, stay true to the villains, all that, or the animated series, and there you go.
Yeah, but that would never work. Because, that would require
because Static Shock is something that I enjoyed that. I watched the animated
growing up. Yeah. And they had the Batman Beyond tie-in. Same timeline. So yeah, there you go. There's an idea if anyone's listening. Have that one for free.
Not just anyone, someone important.
Sure, yeah. Ben Affleck.
Ben Affleck is like we have like one listener. It's Ben Affleck.
Could you imagine?
He's like, I like these guys.
Well, you could have Christian Bale's an older guy. He could probably pull off an older Bruce Wayne.
Yeah,
Ben Affleck is
Michael Keaton.
Well, they kind of ruined Michael Keaton for me with the fucking Flash.
Oh, the Flash.
I mean, that was another good idea they completely fucked up. Like the what's it called? When he Flash, he does the time paradox.
Oh, Flashpoint.
Flashpoint. Thank you.
Yeah.
They completely fucked that up. Holy shit!
Yeah.
Like when they announced that, I was like, oh my god, are they actually gonna do? And then people were so excited. They had the guy who played Negan in The Walking Dead. It's like, oh shit, is he gonna be Thomas Wayne? Oh my god, Jeffrey D. Morgan, I think.
Yeah, Harry D. Morgan, or
yeah, whatever his name is. And then no, none of that. Fucking Michael Keaton also as older Batman for some reason. Like, what the fuck? Like, it was right there in front of you. How did you?
Well, there's an animated. I have it on DVD. An animated version of that, which is extraordinary. That's what people should watch, and I'd rather watch that than I made it 20 minutes into the Flash movie, and I saw
the animated movie is great.
Yeah.
Holy shit! Like, how do they even know about that to fuck that up so bad? Like,
yeah, I think it's Wikipedia or something. These people just look at a Wikipedia article and go, okay, but
like, how do they even know to title it Flashpoint? Like, who told you about that? Because clearly they didn't. do any. I mean, holy shit! Like the amount of research they did on that. Oh my god! Or
because they're not fans. We have people making this stuff who are not fans,
but I almost wonder, like, for example, the Borderlands example. Sorry, I just will say this.
Yeah, go ahead.
The Borderlands example, since it was in development hell for something, I almost wonder if, like, I mean, oh god, I would love to get in somewhere, whatever vault they have these in, whoever's computer hack who we'd have to hack into, and see like the original script for some of these things. Because if you knew to make a fucking Flashpoint and you knew stuff like, oh well, Superman was imprisoned. Oh, well, we got to gender swap it, so it's really super. Okay, whatever. But like, you knew like that's a part of Flashpoint that you would have to actually know about without maybe Wikipedia. So I wonder if sometimes they do start off as legit movie scripts, like something Ryan Reynolds would write for Deadpool, and then because no one has control or authority over all these retards that just work for a corporation.
It's committee.
Right. So then they come in and they just strip it away of basically everything that makes it the thing it started as. And in like the 300th revision draft of the script, or they throw out like most of the script, and then what you're left with is like, oh well, this dog shit pile of puke and visual suicide. Like what the fuck how do they know? Think of another example. So like they had to know that, oh, see you, Kyle. I guess he hopped off for the night.
All right.
They had to know that that because like in Flashpoint, the Atlanteans go to war with the Amazonians, or like they're at war and it's basically destroying mankind because they're just kind of like caught in the middle. They have to know that there's some inciting incident. Otherwise, why would they decide, oh, okay, well, we'll just reuse the Man of Steel. We'll just reuse the Zod because we already have it, so it's easy and we're fucking lazy assholes. And we could just market what people have already seen, which is familiar. Because in my mind, you have to at least know what you're fucking up to be like, oh, well, instead of going with this original plot line that people have never seen on screen, even though we do have the characters now for it, let's take all that out and just rehash the same fucking shit to save cost on CGI, right? Because they could just reuse the same kind of scene and shot. We'll just bring back the same actor. We've got that guy on contract anyways, right? So we got an option to bring him back in probably. Just so on and so forth. Like it makes sense on paper, business wise, because you're like, well, yeah, I've seen that, right? Like I saw Man of Steel, but yeah, what they don't understand is the full picture, and that's what makes them retarded. Like they don't understand.
They all want to insert their own stamp on it, so it looks like they've done something. Again, it's gotten to the point where staying true to the lore is white supremacy or something these people don't want. And there have been instances where some of these companies have interviewed people, I think even Disney, and if you know anything about the lore, you don't get the job.
Yeah, because I mean, at this point, it's totally fucked because they've hired so many. There's so many diversity hires now in places of power, and like, I'm gonna start calling them bureaucrats because that's what they are. They're just bureaucratic government workers. They're like government employees. I mean, I don't really care about the leftist shit, but they've infected these companies like a fucking cancer. There's no turning back. Like all of these people have to be purged.
Right. Like if I went to a job interview and oh yeah, what do you know about Flash? It's like, oh, I'm a big fan of Flashpoint. Yeah, that's the movie we're doing. I wouldn't get the job because I know about it.
Right.
Like, we're making our own Flashpoint, and
we don't.
And Henry Cavill came into this on The Witcher, and he's probably going to go through it with the Warhammer 40K if he even goes through with that show. What they're going to do to the Warhammer universe.
Yeah, I would just walk away. I'd be like, look, you're not using me anymore for, for your bullshit. Like I'm just not.
Yeah, for Clay, I mean, he's a draw, but he's not going to be in something that's bullshit.
He should know that. He should know that now. Like he seems like an actually pretty down to earth, humble guy, but he should know that they're just using him because he draws in fans. So, and if I was him, I'd be like, look, I'm not gonna let you use me to bait and switch and like try to trick people into watching this. It's gonna actually be something the fans want, like, are interested in, or something worth enjoying.
Yeah.
You know.
But you know, as an actor, he's got to eat too, and he's not an executive producer, so
yeah, he should be.
He should be, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He could just go, okay, I'm not signing on unless I'm an executive producer.
I mean, he really is kind of in career limbo because obviously there's a fan base that enjoys him, and he's good at what he does, but Hollywood hates him.
I mean, he still gets role. Like he was in that really shitty cat lady movie. Remember? I don't even remember what it's called. You remember that though? She was like a fantasy. She's like a fantasy author. Well, I shouldn't say fantasy. That's not the right word to describe it. She's like a fiction author, and what she writes.
Okay, yeah. That was a brief. That was a very. He was not like the main guy in that, but they billed him like he was.
Yeah, but that was like last year, right, or something.
Yeah, that was like a bait and switch. Yeah, it was some sort of person who writes whatever.
Yeah, it was like
some sort of shit, and he was supposedly the
Yeah, and so
I can't even remember what the name of that film was, but I remember a lot of people upset because they went to go see Henry Cavill, and he was in it for like 7 minutes.
Right. That's what I'm saying. That's so, and I mean he's like a multi-millionaire. He could literally retire and never work a day in his life. I don't think he's in a point where he's like, oh my god, I got to get a gig. I need this gig. I think he has some pull now. He could be like, look, Amazon, I'm making creative decisions or I'm walking. Like, good luck, Warhammer. Like, good luck, fucking Games Workshop.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean,
well,
he's probably.
But look at everything he's being denied, or like he'd be a perfect James Bond, but they won't give it to him.
Yeah, that's fine. He can make his own movie. He
would be like The Witcher could have been. The Witcher could have been one of the greatest TV shows, fantasy TV shows, and video game adaptations ever made. They screwed the pooch on that.
Yeah, I mean,
wasn't his fault.
Yeah, I mean, he could be an executive producer and a producer in the sense that he's funding some of this stuff. I mean, it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility. Like I mean, obviously the guy who wrote the Witcher books is pretty based, but like maybe there's some people that, if you want to base it off the video games, I don't know what the licensing, where it rests, if it's with the guy's estate or if it's with CD Projekt Red or whatever. But like, you could probably wrestle that shit away and like make a Witcher movie. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think he might have some pull at this point. That's probably why, even though they announced it like a year or two ago, the Warhammer stuff, you haven't really heard anything. You know what I mean? Like, you haven't really heard anything about it because it's probably a bunch of him wrestling with a bunch of retards.
Or it just could be in development hell because they are going to go the route of strong women and blah blah blah. And
I mean, it takes years to produce shit, anyways. I mean, whether or not you're constantly butting heads with a bunch of retards about, meddling and fucking you over and trying to pull you down for making something good. I don't know. The point I'm trying to make is, I wonder if like some of these things are actually pretty great in the beginning, and then by the time that all of the people we're talking about, who have no idea what people actually want from the things they enjoy and what's successful, like those people destroy it over the course of several years. Then what you have left is most of the media that we get now. Because like Ryan Reynolds had pretty much, I mean, everyone always says like, oh, he has so much control over Deadpool. He loves that character. Like, he made that happen. he has so much. He gets to make so many decisions on this. He's, I think, an executive producer on it. Like he, I mean, his wife was Lady Deadpool in the movie. Oh, you still got to see that movie. So
no, it's okay. No, I know all about the film.
Okay,
so I'm not one of those.
Blake Lively. But yeah, I mean, he and it's not like that movie was. I mean, that was pretty normie, kind of comic booky, harkened back to 20th Century Fox era. It's not like we're talking about really weird, off the wall, avant garde. I mean, compare Deadpool versus Wolverine to like fucking Sin City. You know what I mean? Where that's probably maybe that and Watchmen was like the most like the most faithful adaptations of a comic book. Like Sin City was almost like frame for frame.
Yeah, it was.
And I mean, even that translated super fucking well to film, I thought.
300 was another one.
300 was pretty close. Yeah, basically all the Frank Miller shit, because Frank Miller isn't a dumbass. He's not doing it unless he does it, unless he's involved personally. Otherwise, I'm betting he's telling these people, "Hey, go fuck yourself." Like this is my shit. So, unfortunately, you don't have Steve Ditko and Stan Lee anymore, and a lot of the old Marvel guys to tell them that. Say, "Hey, go fuck yourself." I mean, maybe Rob Liefeld has some say. I don't know, but
sure he does.
I hope so. Yeah, I hope so. But anyway, so like my point is, when the things that we enjoy are headed up or run or mostly the decision makers of people who also enjoy that thing and are sincerely trying to make a faithful adaptation, recreation, reboot, whatever you want to call it, seems to make money. Seems to make money these days. It seems to be the only things that are making money for these studios.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's all I'll say. Obviously that's no secret. Like the people who are making things that they're passionate about, who they're an actual fan of, who understand the material, are going to make better stuff. But I wonder if those people, if they actually do start off that way and they come in and fuck them all up. Because, like I said, some things about Flashpoint, when I think I eventually watched on streaming just to laugh at, or on a plane ride or something. When I watched it, I was like, you have to actually know something about Flashpoint to understand how to fuck this up. Like you couldn't have just landed on these stories.
It's actually a good point.
Like you couldn't have just landed on these things. You couldn't have like just decided that. Now I will say, no, yeah, because they even had an evil Flash, which it wasn't the Reverse Flash, it wasn't Zoom, but it was kind of the weird evil Barry from the TV show Flashpoint, which is just a derivative of an evil Barry from the comics. So you kind of have to rely like that's 2 degrees of separation, but then the guys who did the Flash TV show pulled from comics, which is why like every villain of every season was a speedster, like an evil speedster. So they had some knowledge. The parts of those shows were pretty decent. So yeah, I wonder like how the fuck did he? Unless all that's on Wikipedia, then.
Well, yeah. Again, it could be Wikipedia articles, or somebody gives them a synopsis. That isn't that in depth. I really don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, they don't want to do a true adaptation. That's why whenever I hear like we're going to do an adaptation of it, just no, God, no. I mean, imagine if they did a true adaptation of Wheel of Time or a true adaptation of Rings of Power or something like that. These would be huge shows, but that's not what they want to do. They know they probably should if they want to make all the money, but as long as they can cower and just say, you're a bunch of racists and haters. That's what they're going to do.
After the fact, or that's preemptive.
No, they preemptively do it. Like if you don't like this show, you hate black women. They did that for the Obi-Wan show.
Yeah, now they do because they know everyone's gonna hate it. Yeah, I fall back on no. Some of these people are actually that retarded, and they're so far up their own ass they actually do believe that it's going to be a wild success. It's it's like it's the same analogy where earlier you're like, well, I know about it. Well, it's the inverse of what you're saying. So you're like, well, I work with detectives. I know these people. So I'm not using that example as like they actually know the source material, so they want to fuck it up. I say that in the sense of like your perception of the new Batman movie is skewed because you work with detectives. You actually talk to law enforcement. You get notes from them. Like you have an insight that the average person doesn't have. So take the inverse of that, where you, I don't know, just believed like everything that happened in CSI and Criminal Minds was how like the whole detective world worked and how everything worked. And then so you just made complete dog shit because you're like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna base my and so yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say
they did that with She-Hulk. They wanted to make a courtroom drama, but they had nobody on staff who knew nobody with a JD, no attorney who knew anything about the courtroom work group or
She-Hulk is a perfect example. She-Hulk is the fucking Australian breakdancing woman of of the Marvel. Like it was the quintessential Marvel because those people finally had like total control over the property, and so from the get-go it was complete dog shit. From rip, like they had sweet fuck all knowledge, but their perspective is so skewed that they actually think they're making something good. They're like, oh, this is going to be great, and women will all come see my TV show because I'm a woman and I'm writing this show, and because I'm writing this dog shit show, of course I would want to go watch it because I'm the one that's one of like the 15 female writers. But they're fucking retarded because what they don't get is that no one gives a shit. Just like if you're like, well, I work with detectives, so the new Batman movie sucked. I don't work with detectives, so to me, I was like, oh, that's actually probably one of the most faithful live action movies adaptations I've seen of Batman because it's slow paced, which in my brain, layman brain, tricks me into going, oh, slow pace makes detective work.
Right, but like.
So you get
one of my favorite shows of all time was NYPD Blue, and I just watched a thing on it. And before they even really got into the writing, they hired a New York City detective who had like 30 years, and the guy who worked on Son of Sam and shit like that. So this guy's worked, he's put mob bosses behind bars. He's done it all. And they used him as a consultant.
And there you go.
And then the writer went from there as to how these guys talk and how they act. And so he scripted based on this guy's input. And it was so, the show was so accurate, true to life, even though it was controversial at the time, but with some of the language and things like that. But it was still so true to life as to a day in the life of a New York City homicide detective and just who these people really are. They weren't saints either. They were flawed people. And so you if you're going to do something, again, like She-Hulk is a perfect example, you hire a consultant. You hire somebody who's been a trial attorney for 30 years and say, okay, we want to do a courtroom thing. How do we do this? What type of language do we need to incorporate in the script? This, and that. And they didn't even fucking bother.
No, of course not. Try telling. I mean, have you ever argued with a woman?
Yeah.
like try telling these dipshit diversity hires that have completely overblown egos of people constantly validating and them like getting all of their feelings and shitty ideas affirmed by people who are like have no ball, like the balls of these executives of the studio, like Kevin Feige, have inverted into his mangina. Imagine like telling them, "Hey, retard, you have no fucking idea how to write a courtroom drama because the closest you've ever been to a lawyer is his dick in your mouth." Like at 12 at night.
You guys watch Ally McBeal and think that's
like you have no fucking idea what you're doing. You have no fucking idea what audience you're writing for. You're a complete hack. Go home. Don't come back tomorrow. You're fucking fired. Like that's what they should be telling these retards. And they all sit around on a couch in an interview and laugh. Like, it's so funny. How funny, how fucking idiotic we are. How we just it was so funny how we just wasted millions of dollars of this studio and this company that gave us the biggest shot of our life. So funny. Girls, didn't you have fun? Like, no, you should. So I don't know. I mean, I agree with you, but yeah, there's no fucking way they would put up with like a real lawyer on set for a day.
Yeah.
It's like
because they're not acting in good faith. They're not actually trying to make a good courtroom drama. They just want we got a female character who happens to be a lawyer. We'll throw shit that we saw on TV in it and blah blah blah. And if you don't like it, there you go. And it was a worthless show. And
I got another one. The only time they've been inside a courtroom is for their DUI charge.
Yeah.
Got them. All right. I'll be here till 11, folks.
Just something off topic here. Just bookmark it. Do you know we can talk about a video game for a second. So online gaming is something I moved away from. We talked about this last week. Do you remember RuneScape, old school MMO?
Oh yeah, okay. My buddy plays that. A bunch of people are playing RuneScape Classic. Okay, you can play it on your phone now.
Old school RuneScape just removed male and female from character creator and added mandatory pronouns.
Oh really?
Yeah, a game from 2004, maybe even. RuneScape's pretty old.
How old was I in 2004? I was 15.
That was a lot of people.
13. I was 13. No, it was older than that.
Yeah, because 2004 was World of Warcraft, and that pretty much was a nuclear bomb on other MMOs.
Right. World of Warcraft was when I was in middle school. So RuneScape was like pre-middle school, or I just graduated elementary school.
It had to be around EverQuest time, and
it was probably closer to EverQuest time.
Anarchy Online.
Yup, Diablo 2.
Diablo 2 came out in 2000, I think. 99, 2000, something like that.
Here, I'm gonna look it up. But yeah, that's the era I'm pretty sure RuneScape launched in, because you also have to think like it was an online browser-based game, so it had to be really shitty to run.
Yeah. But they have something called Old School RuneScape, which I think is a relaunch
since our start in 2005. Wait, hold on. That's this wiki started in 2005. When did the fucking game? Yeah, they straight up advertise Old School on their website. They're like RuneScape Old School. Anyways, continue. Go ahead.
No, it's just that they're adding all this modern day shit in it. So there's nothing old school about it, except the graphics and the gameplay, which is probably the worst part of it.
Yeah. January 4th, 2001. Yep, there you go.
Yeah.
Yep. There you go. Yeah, that's pretty retarded.
So when you see games like that from 2001 updating to something like this with pronouns and body type AB, gaming's pretty much dead, man.
But I guarantee you, if I go talk to my friend right now and I'm like, "Oh, hey, did you know that? Like what you just said? Did you know this and that? They're doing this?" He'd probably be like, "Eh." He just shrug his shoulders and be like, whatever. I mean, like,
I mean, for some people, it's not. For me, it is a big deal.
Yeah, but for most people, like, it's just like I just don't have enough energy to care so much about it anymore. I just don't. Yeah. Unless everyone's gonna stop and just walk away, which they're not, because like it's our culture now. They've won.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you're going to leave or go like join the Amish. I mean, it doesn't have to be like that, that drastic of a shift, but like unless you're going to just completely change your lifestyle, pretty much everything in the modern era and like the society that we live, you have to deal with this bullshit. That's just the culture. So like I don't know.
Well, I understand that. I boycott shit like this, but I mean, I'm not a RuneScape. I haven't been a RuneScape player since probably 2004 when World of Warcraft launched.
Yeah,
it has no appeal to me. But if I were, I'd probably look at it and be. I mean, maybe it depends how much I've invested. Maybe I wouldn't care. Maybe I would. Just because this shit is encroaching, and the more we let it encroach, the more, we can vote with our wallets and our time and our attention.
Yeah,
but it's just something to bring up because they're trying to go back in the past on games, and this is why online gaming has no appeal to me. I used to do a lot of it, and now I do none because this mind virus, and I really don't miss it. I spent probably way too much time doing it.
Yeah, I kind of relearned something recently, and this might make you feel better or worse. I don't know. So the nature of femininity in women, and I say this because leftist ideology is super feminine for people out there watching. If you didn't know that already, congratulations. Now you know. Like right-wing values are very masculine.
Yep.
And like if you look at the voter demographic breakdowns, pretty much everything, like how you look at how the left operates politically, like go to a high school lunchroom and like watch how girls interact with each other and like watch how dudes interact. And if you've ever wondered like, oh, why is there war? Like if you're a guy or a guy, if you're a guy, and you're not a giant pussy, like you haven't lived in your room your whole life, you probably had a fight when you're like if you're hang out with other guys. I can distinctly remember at a time in my life where some of, maybe not necessarily my best friends, but some of the friends I made, we bonded because we got in a fucking fist fight. We picked up our shirt and whatever off the ground. We like dusted ourselves off and we're like, all right, cool, man. You want to go like grab food or like go skating? Like, guys, that's how guys bond. We're physical. Like, anyways, and we escalate things. We're not like tempered. Well, nowadays a lot of soyed out guys are. So if you're not a guy, go ask a guy, hey, have you ever made a friend because you fought them? The answer is probably yes. Anyways,
and guys, constantly we give each other shit, even to the in older, like I go to a neighborhood bar and they give me shit about my bald head or something like that, and it's
guys
just how it is. And if they didn't like me, they wouldn't even pay attention to me. You know what I mean? Like they bust my balls, I bust them right back, and that's just how we do. We have some cocktails and watch the football game or the golf or whatever is on TV. And then, we're cool. And but that's how guys interact. And we say some nasty things.
Your balls.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're upfront about it. Women say all the same shit behind each other's back, but they're polite in person because it's a social thing. And they're like very social creatures. Whereas we're more autistic. We don't give a shit about that. And now that guys are like more soyed out, the frustrating thing is talking to these younger guys. they're so fucking autistic. Like they just don't get shit about shit. Like they have no concept. Like they completely miss the forest for the trees. Like they have no higher order thinking. They can't think about bigger picture things. It's all like super minute autistic details.
Yeah.
And part of it is because that's how they compete now. Like that's their level of competition, is just arguing and bitching about the most minute technical details to feel better
like
about
a
themselves.
definition of something.
Yeah.
That's a popular thing.
What's your definition of insurrection?
Yeah, go fuck off. So left-wing politics being what it is just women constantly pushing men more and more and more every generation, nagging, shit testing, waiting for men to like pick up their pip hand and do something about it, or literally inviting a bunch of foreigner men in to come in and put them in their place, like there are in Europe, where they're constantly getting like raped and everything. So that's what women do. That's the feminine side of and left wing. So the boiling the frog alive over time is that's kind of I don't know if that's where that comes from, but the saying of that is the slow creep of pushing for like the next little inch, and then 10 years later you're like, holy shit, they took 2 miles when at the beginning it was just giving an inch, and if you said anything and stood up, oh well, you're this and that, and you get shamed and guilted, canceled. Well, canceled because they have so much power now. But and then because that's the other side, the right wing side, is instead of standing up and being like, "Shut the fuck up, bitch," i.e., the left, or going to war, whatever you want to call it. They just go, "Oh, well, it's not worth my time. I'm just going to put up with it. I'm going to put up with it. I'm going to put up with it. I'm going to put up with it." And then you have certain points in history, like the Weimar Republic, where young men swing so far to the right, they go like off the rails and the pendulum swings.
Yeah.
And they go like, or they become like super puritanical. There's like this huge resurgence of like really hard masculine values, or there's like a war and all the soy boy simps die off. And like men don't put up with shit at all, or it's a foreign culture of masculine men. Anyways, what I'm saying to you, I say all that to say, there's basically no reason to care anymore about all the stupid pronouns and all this other bullshit, because en masse, our society is so wealthy and men have it so well. Like they're not going to war. Like they're not going to stand up. They're not going to walk away and go MGTOW. They're not going to vote with their wallets and not. We're not all going to go into the woods and just basically disconnect. We're not going to go overthrow the government unless like we start starving or we reach hyperinflation. Like we haven't felt enough pain, and the left constantly jabbing like men every day and guys and what they like, and women taking over more guy spaces. It's just not worth fighting, because it's just not even literally in our nature to give a shit. Like we don't have the social energy to care until we decide, okay, enough's enough, and then we're just going to go like from 0 to 11 overnight.
Yeah, so, I mean, I'm at a point though. I still stand for something, and so I just,
but it's not standing for something. It's just it's just the nature of man. Like it's past. It's not a principle thing. It's just men don't. They don't fight back all the time because it's too exhausting. Like we're not built to have that kind of like we're built for action. We're built for big impacts. Whereas women are very passive, feminine people are very passive, and they're passive aggressive. And that's how they because they're weak. You know what I mean? They can't physically overpower you, so they have to passively aggressively like instigate power and fuck with you to get power over you. And so you're like, I've kind of given up because I just don't care, because I'm at the point where I'm like, well, I look around and no one else gives a shit. So instead of just being the guy dying on the hill of like, well, I can't even, like, again, we're still in this culture. So, for example, until I leave and go to a Latin American country where I never have to deal with this bullshit again, except maybe in like 30 years when I'm an old man, and I'm telling my kids and grandkids about the story of how America fell in the dying, waning days of America, like, it's just not worth fighting. Like, you should still try to find some enjoyment in the things that aren't shitty and gay and woke, I guess is what I'm saying. Because you're not, like, you're
it's
wasting,
just harder and harder to find things that aren't shitty.
Yeah, but you can enjoy the small things like Wolverine and Deadpool, or like, as we're, I don't know. I mean, write more, like, do stuff on the individual level. Because if you're expecting stuff from society to provide those things for you, then you're kind of just bitching at people who don't give a shit about you and frankly hate you. So it's like, I don't know.
Well, for me, it's not really just protesting or boycotting, because at this point I don't give a shit. But at the same token, their attack is psychological and spiritual. So I'm not going to, just like with food, if you eat garbage, you're going to be garbage. And the same thing, I think, with entertainment or anything like that. If you ingest this stuff in your mind, it stains your mind, it stains your soul. Even if you're just doing it to make fun of it or to review it for content, eventually I think a lot of people become a frog in boiling water, where something is now just okay and people think it's great, like Twisters or this Alien Romulus movie, where no, my bar hasn't lowered. I still hold Hollywood to the standards, because I know I'm a better writer than a lot of these assholes, but I'll never be given an opportunity. But I can at least say, until you get your game up, I'm not going to bother with you. And if you're going to keep putting pronouns and this and that, I know what you're trying to do. I'm not going to comply, and I'm not going to support you. But I'm also not going to sabotage you either. It doesn't affect me. It's like, okay, I'm moving on. And I just move on, because I understand that the more you consume a lot of this garbage, which they're trying to, this is on purpose, is they're trying to destroy your mind, get you to comply, or just ruin your psyche. And I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to consume good stuff that I know is enjoyable, like a Wolverine Deadpool movie or something like that.
Yeah. I'm sorry. This is terrible for a podcast, but I'm listening to I'm just trying to think about what I want to say. Yeah. So, I mean, there are alternatives, like, if you're not going to support that stuff, or if you're not going to pay to go see all that stuff, like, there's a I know about this because I'm doing confirmation this weekend, so I'm going to become an official Catholic, and I know you're Catholic, William. So for you personally, there's like a Catholic Netflix. It's called Formed, and there's like a bunch of apps and series on Netflix, and you can learn more about. It's actually pretty interesting, because you could learn about more like the philosophical or esoteric parts of the faith.
No, I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah. So I would say to you, A, find the alternatives that exist. Or B, try to find enjoyment in things, even if they're, because I don't know if I necessarily agree with you that, like, they'll damage your psyche. Like, I went to go see Inside Out 2 with Paula, and I still recognize that movie was pretty retarded. like that movie didn't subvert my values. I wasn't like,
I never saw the first one, but I've
yeah, we enjoyed the first one. I mean, the first one, I think they fucked up and they touched on a lot deeper themes and meaning to growing up and childhood and family that they even realized, and like death and loss and fucking, oh my god, it was like surprisingly thoughtful. This one was more like paint by numbers, but I use it as an example because other people would probably be like, "Oh, it's just like a modern shitty Disney Pixar movie. It's probably super woke." And it's like, yeah, I mean, it's about a teenage girl. Like and it's gonna say stupid shit that's woke, and it obviously wasn't made for me. But I don't know. I mean, there's some stuff in there though I can find enjoyment in the perspective of people who have different values than me. Like I don't think like I go to D&D every week with mostly guys that don't really share my values, and I can sit down and play a fantasy tabletop game with them, and I'm not like, oh fuck you guys, I'm never showing up again. I mean,
right? No, I
if you
understand.
shut yourself off from like half the culture, you're I don't know. I don't know what to say about it. I mean, you're either basically going to go your own way and be kind of a hermit, which is very socially isolating, and it's like being completely socially isolated is also not very good for your psyche. So like you have to find some kind of balance. You can't just like, well, I'm just going to check out of everything. And I don't know. I mean, again, it is the boiling frog thing. Like I totally agree with you. But I don't know. At the end of the day, we're also just complaining about a bunch of weak dipshit feminine retards. Like I don't know. Are they really that powerful? Like, do they really have that much power over me? Not really. I don't know. Maybe I say that because I've built up certain networks now. I probably have a kind of safety net. Like I have fallback options, but I don't know. They're not that scary. Maybe I haven't been canceled before, but I'm not really afraid of people. I'm also Scottish, not literally, but ancestrally. So I like fighting people. I fight and argue with people a lot. I had to mellow out in my older age. so like to me,
I mean, so for me, like when it comes to modern shit and they're rehashing stuff that I grew up on that they're fucking up beyond recognition.
Right.
You know, it's like, what's the point? I mean, for me, and I've always been this way. If you can't do it as good or better, then you know, and I've always felt this way about remakes, reboots, this, that, sequels. There's so many franchises I left before the sequels were done. Of movie, like let's say Saw. The first Saw movie I thought was great.
Mm-hmm.
Second movie I thought was okay. By the third, I was checked out just because.
Yeah, that has nothing to do with wokeism.
Yeah. No, it just.
That's like going back
to the cash grab, and it's like, okay, I'm kind of done with it, and I get tired of things. I'm done with Predator, Alien, Marvel Comics, DC Comics, Star Wars.
Yeah.
I'm done with it because there's no way or Jurassic Park that they're ever going to capture the magic of when these things were at their peak, because the talent simply is not there.
Well, yeah, but to go back to the Alien thing, I mean, you can still have the most talented people, but if they do 30 of them, you're like, okay, well, this is just fucking exhausting.
Yeah, they diminish it, you know.
Yeah, it's like diminishing returns or something.
Yeah.
It's almost like it's diminishing return.
I mean, that's what happened like during the 80s in the slasher flicks. So we grew up on Halloween and Freddy Krueger and Jason Voorhees. We even used them in our D&D campaigns. Okay, we actually had Camp Crystal Lake that our characters would run around and stuff. And, you know, but by the time they got, you know, to VCR and video, and these were, by the way, they were landmark characters and landmark franchises. I mean, Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street, and I'd say the first two Friday the 13th are must-sees as far as I'm concerned when it comes to horror movies. But then they became a caricature of themselves where it was just ridiculous and eye rolling, and it's like, oh
yeah, that was in the 80s and the 90s.
Yeah,
that wasn't now. Yeah, that was back then.
Yeah, so I mean, so franchises outstay their welcome with, especially when the original people who created it are gone, and that's something we have to look at. With why is there new stuff? That's what everybody says. Well, everything's corporate now, and the stuff that they owned, the people who were directly involved are gone. You know, Gene Roddenberry's gone, George Lucas is gone, Stan Lee, Ditko, they're all gone. And so now they're being manned by people who never created shit. And okay, let's do this. Okay, people will see that because it has Star Wars on it. They don't realize the nuance. Like,
yeah,
you know, I think even people who are working on D&D right now are, you know, I mean, Gygax and Arneson have been gone, but the people who took over Wizards of the Coast after, you know, before 2000, they were huge fans of D&D, and they knew D&D inside, and they knew role-playing games, and they revamped D&D 3rd edition 3.5 to a point where it was, I still think that's the most popular edition. Somebody told me the other day the 1st edition sold, when it came to sales, it sold the most. Okay, but 3rd edition cannot be that far behind with the amount of sales. And it really put D&D back on the map, because in the 90s, D&D was dead.
Yeah.
It was a dead brand.
Yeah, it's interesting because I have totally different perspective on this stuff, because I just haven't been on the earth that long.
So no, like, I don't mean to play the, you know, get off my lawn shit, but
no, it's fine. I just like yeah.
But when you're a fan of something, I think you take the time to really, you know, do something where I don't think we have fans outside of Ryan Reynolds and Deadpool. You can see that he's a fan, and you can see that Hugh Jackman's a fan of Wolverine. He did a lot of research for that role. He read a lot of comics before he took that role. And you can see that they're fans of these characters, and that shines through. But with a lot of these other franchises and shows and whatnot, they're really not fans.
They're not that big of fans. Like, they're not like autistically invested in comics, going to comic shop, like reading. I mean, there's different levels. I just think they're just not actively insulting people. Like, I'm not that big of a fan. I mean, I don't know, you know, I don't know the intricate in and outs of all the I almost said Daredevil, all the Deadpool and Wolverine adventures.
Right. I don't either, actually.
And like all the X-Force, and like when, you know, they run into each other, or like when Deadpool used to basically be a villain and he tried to, it's like someone hired him to kill Wolverine or whatever. But I can enjoy it. You know, it's enjoyable to me, and I enjoy it for what it is. So I think the difference is like, I don't know. I just don't have as much of a emotional investment in it. Like I just look at it as it's just a movie. Like, they're just selling.
Yeah, no, I get it.
To buy a ticket to the movie, so
yeah,
it's not like, oh, because again, I didn't grow up with this stuff. I grew up with trying to think of something that would be on the level of
well, Lord of the Rings was probably.
Yeah, but I didn't read the books. I just watched the movies.
Oh, okay.
So
How about like Jurassic Park was a, you know.
Yeah, that was fun, but all
Matrix, you know.
Yeah, but again, like, I could just go watch those movies if I wanted to, and I watched the original Star Wars and the prequels, and when I was a kid, I loved the prequels, but when people were adults and they saw the prequels, they hated it. So like, it's a totally different perspective. I mean, I like all the stuff we're talking about. I enjoy it for what it is or what it was when it was out. I'm not like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of something I'm so nostalgic about where if they come out with it and they fucked it up, I'd be like, oh, this is awful. I'm never watching this again. Like, I don't know.
Well, I don't know either. I don't know if they've even gotten to
even when they fucked up. Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm pretty emotionally invested in D&D, but I just won't play the new edition.
Right.
Like I guess that's probably no surprise why we cover that a lot, because that's probably that's a thing I've grown up on. But I haven't grown up on like Bigsby and like shit. What is like some of the big D&D canon like wizards, and like I didn't give a shit about Baldur's Gate. I enjoy playing Baldur's Gate 3, and I think I played a little bit of 1 or 2 when it was like PlayStation. Was it 2? I don't even remember. Right? So. I played a little bit of Neverwinter Nights. So, but like I played a lot of D&D, but even with this new shitty, really really bad version coming out, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just not gonna buy. I'm not outraged by it or anything like that. It's just,
yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see when it comes out. And
but if I play it, I'll just judge it for whether, or I'll have a good time with friends playing the game. I don't know. I'm just not as. I don't know. It's
you're not
like,
excited about this release, where
Well, it's just not like. I don't know, the way you talk about where you're like it's going to damage my psyche. Like it's not like D&D isn't like my identity. I'm not like waiting on a release date to get it like some of these other D&D nerds. I'm not like
no, but I'm not saying it damages my psyche per se. I think it's a cultural thing. They're damaging the psyche of the culture and trying to make things that were never norms.
That's been happening. That's been happening since before you and me were even alive.
Right.
I mean, what do you think? What do you think?
Some of the stuff are norms, like pronouns and men can get pregnant. Fly in the face of just about any logic you can possibly imagine.
I mean, giving women voting rights flies in the face of any logic that you could imagine. Like, and that happened.
But again, I just you got to prove that you could, like Top Gun Maverick did it as well, maybe even better than the first movie. So I'm all on board with that. I've seen that movie probably 7 times.
Well, there you go. I mean, there's always going to be more shit than good stuff, So I don't know. But speaking of modern stuff that's enjoyable, so I'm on. Interestingly enough, I'm on email campaigns for. Maybe that's not very interesting.
Okay.
So
I'll be right back. Can I just take 20 seconds?
Yeah. Go ahead. I'll switch over real quick to the website. I want to show the viewers at home some stuff. Sorry guys, we're in Wall Street and we're not just gonna bitch about shitty modern stuff. We want to talk about stuff we like to. This is that segment. Anyway, so let the shilling commence. So we're sponsored by us. Everything we do, you guys make happen. Really, you guys support us, and we like coming out with more content as soon as possible. And the more copies of books we sell, and the more content we come out with, and look, there's some enjoyable content. But anyway, so in order to help try to boost some, I guess, of the regular monthly sales, someone reached out to me. One of our pull list members, they reached out to me. Yeah, this is legit. They were saying they'd like to get the virgin copy of the cover A. So we do like cover A and B typically, and do a trade, and then do like the full art. And so your name could be here. And so I went ahead and offered up both now. So every membership helps us drastically. So if anyone out there is a Hardly Heroes reader, or may not be yet. We have all the back issues in inventory. They may not be first edition, especially probably like the first 4 now at this point, maybe 5. But if you guys sign up for the pull list, and this should not be monthly anymore, because it's basically whenever we come out with a new issue, then you get billed and it gets shipped straight to your door, so you don't have to worry about checking up on us.
Yeah,
you just get the book. So I encourage people, if they're out, I'm doing some light shilling while you left, but I was just telling people that.
Yeah, no, that's good.
So someone reached out to me, one of our pull list members, and he was like, "Hey man, I'm enjoying the book, and I actually want to pick up the Virgin copy of the book, like the full art, every time you come out with a new one as well." So I added it to the website where you could get a month, or it's really not monthly anymore. It's not like you're gonna get billed every month, but I updated the subscription so you could do the cover A, like the basic trade, or you could do the cool full art cover A of every issue we release. So that's available on the website now. So that's cool. Let's see. All right, you're back.
It's a good deal. Good deal.
Yeah, good deal. I think so. And typically for the pull list subscribers, we also sign them too. I'll sign them. Kyle will sign them. Both of us will sign them. No, so it's a little extra incentive. Sometimes if we come out with whatever new sticker, I'll throw them in the pull list people. So, and then you get.
Yeah, it's a good way so you don't, because I've lost track of some campaigns, that I backed and never got the second or the third issue because either the email never came my way, or maybe I deleted it, or just wasn't checking Indiegogo or Fund My Comic enough. And so this is a great way where you don't have to keep up with it. You can just when a new one comes out, it's shipped to your door. Then you're billed, and
and you only get billed when a new one comes out. So there you go.
I don't know anybody else that does a model like this right now.
Yeah, I'm surprised because you have a pull list at a comic shop, right? Like you go in, you say, okay, I want to add this. I want to add this series to my pool, blah blah blah, and then you just show up for New Comic Book Day, and if that book came out on that New Comic Book Day that month, or whenever it launches, the comic shop's like, oh, okay, great, I'll pull a copy aside and put it in Bill's pull list bucket. And for us, it's great because it's like, they're basically, to me, they're just pre-orders, not just pre-orders. They're very important, and they're we really appreciate people that are like, yeah, I want to sign up and get this book every new issue. But for the business side, it's a pre-order so that I can go, okay, great, I'm printing, helps us kind of plan around the printing of the book and everything. So
yeah.
So I'm surprised more people know it. But basically everyone who's doing indie stuff now is just doing crowdfunding. So that's kind of like how they use pre-orders. And a lot of people are doing like a volume. So we could talk about this. Speaking of stuff that we like that's good, you have to go out of your way to find it. But I just ordered Wraith of God. I guess he's doing second printings now of 1 and 2 or 1. So I ordered 1. So I'm going to get Aaron Lepresti's book, and I'm pretty excited to read it because you said it was pretty sweet.
I liked it a lot. And the second one,
I'm excited for that.
The second one really reminds me kind of like a Salem's Lot type, which was one of my favorite movies. So yeah, it's basically vampires and stuff in the Old West, and the character's really cool.
Awesome.
And the art is, top notch. Yeah, there's a lot of biblical quotes and things like that. So he's very spiritually driven.
Nice.
So yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
it's a solid.
And then, oh look, Eric Weathers. He's got Battle Brick Road 2. He's our
I got
letterer
both of those coming.
Nice. Yeah,
yeah.
Dope. He's our letterer for Mercenary Guild. Sweet letterer, good artist. So
he's also on the payroll of Ethan.
Stuff. Yep. This guy, I don't think I've seen this one before. This looks pretty good. I guess there's campaign on it now. Yeah, you got Fearsome Like Baron stuff. Klaus. Or in the Brute News, Shane's Cordrath, I heard, is pretty sweet too. Another fantasy.
Yeah.
Kind of like Conan.
I think I have that on the way.
Nice. Yeah, I might back this, yeah. Yeah, I think in general.
I don't know if that's fulfilled yet. I don't know.
I don't know. I like fantasy stuff. A lot of stuff I just kind of scroll through. It's not because I don't like it or I think it's like horrible. I don't know. It just doesn't interest me as much.
You know, as a kid, I like superhero much more than fantasy or sci-fi, and horror's always been something I liked as well. But now I'm really into fantasy, and if there isn't a lot of good horror out there. I guess Wraith of God would count for that.
Yeah, for sure. Mike Bairn's a great, or was it Kelsey Shannon who did this cover?
I'm not sure.
Whoever did this cover is on point.
Well, you're not sharing right now. You're still on hard.
Oh shit. My bad. I was talking about this email that I got, by the way.
I think Mike Barron's a writer.
Yeah, Mike Barron's a writer. So, okay. So hold on. Let me back up. Here's Aaron Lepresti. He's on Wraith of God 3. I just ordered 1, so I could start that one.
Yeah, I think I backed that.
John Malin, Billy Tucci, all these guys. They're just promoting their stuff down here. But here's, I guess, Comics Gate, quote unquote, stuff. But I don't know. I just think these are some good indie books that people are doing right now. Anyways, this is the cover I was looking at. I really like the cover layout of this. Like, this is...
It is pretty
your
cool.
eyes straight down, the skull in the shadow or whatever's going on here. Like, it's nice. It's simplistic. It's not, like, busy. Like, there's a bunch of shit going on the Fearsome cover. This one's pretty good. This one's solid. This is I don't want to say it gives me a lot of anime vibes, manga vibes.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing it's the person who's doing this is someone who does Western comics, but there's a little mix of that in there. But yeah, nice on the simpler side. It's not super busy, but conveys a lot. Like, this one's almost too much for me, but I guess you're supposed to look at this lady and her ass. So,
yeah, not a lot of contrast. But...
like, this one Ethan did, I think, is a lot better. Probably because it's a father-daughter story. Yeah, seems like he spent a lot of time on this one. Like, just thinking through the stylized font of like some of basically My Little Pony, that kind of stuff. The idea behind it. Yeah. Oh. Wait.
Yeah, I backed that too.
Oh,
I don't think
supposed
I backed
to be
the action
son?
figures.
Wait, that's supposed to be his son?
I'm not really sure who the other characters are. I just know it's about this guy and kind of pokes fun at all the shit going on now.
So, right. Yeah, I'm just gonna wait till it actually comes out. Like you said, just buy it on it, because Ethan's doing the same thing now, where he just discounts all the stuff that's from the campaign.
I think I backed it like 2 years ago.
Yeah, there you go. Looks cool.
Yeah, Graham Nolan.
But yeah. So they're all doing the same stuff now. Although I will say, like, this is a nicer email. I mean, the email layout. We'll look at Rippaverse stuff next, but it's not as flashy, obviously. But I like to just, hey, look at all these cool books.
Yeah.
I wonder if that overwhelms people though, but it's cool. It's actually Ethan promoting other indie guys. I guess he's very picky and choosy about who he promotes.
Yeah,
I have questions for John.
I don't know if we'll be in that club.
Who cares? Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't. The only thing I reach out to Ethan to ask him about, I'm still being lazy and I still have to edit. Was to use permission to use the clip for like the Cyberfrog race car, which even if he was like no, I'd be like okay. But that was we're backers on that, and we have Shattermare comics on the back of the race car. But the short video that he did, I thought was pretty sweet. So I was like,
the one that was on Twitter.
Yeah. So I was like, oh man, I'll incorporate that into our intro. That'd be a perfect thing to incorporate into the intro,
And he said no.
No. He's like, yeah, that's fine.
Oh, okay, cool. He's really cool about stuff like that. People clip him all the time. He doesn't strike them, even if they,
I mean, it's gonna be different music. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be different music and stuff. Anyways, it's just gonna be portions of that. I think that's what I'm gonna try to do, but try to keep the same energy as that. I don't know, but yeah, I don't know. I like to ask people just in case, I guess. But yeah, I'm just saying if he did say no, I'd be like, okay, well, we were one of the backers. But anyway, the reason I said that is because I'm not, we're Shattermare Comics. We're building our own stuff. I mean, like if we go on other places and shows to talk about comics and promote our stuff and talk about our stuff, and we have the opportunity, cool, great. But the problem is he's created a perception where it's like if you go just to ask that, he's gonna spin. I guess he's gonna spin it into like you're coming to him either super entitled or you're like kneeling and groveling, and he has the power to be like, no, fuck you. Like
Caesar. He's Caesar.
Yeah, exactly. That's what he wants to be. So, and no, I'm good. I'm not gonna put myself in that position. So, I mean, I've already been in a similar situation with other types of people I don't even agree with or like working with. Like I would, theoretically I agree with Ethan. I'd like working with him maybe, I don't know. But I've been in that situation where I can just tell like, oh, okay, well, so if I agree to do this and that, or, like you're going to hold it over me. Yeah. And then there's an expectation, even though you say you don't, clearly you do. So I'm just not going to bother. Like, it's just not, like why would I get stung? If like I would only have myself to blame if I believe the bullshit.
Right. Yeah.
So, and if the idea is, oh, I'm just fucking with you because I want you to be a heel. I just need content. I need a villain, and I want people to praise me and love me. And like, sorry, man, we want to talk about comics and promote ourselves and other independent creators.
Yeah, we're kind of real here. We're not going to play YouTube games.
This isn't a YouTube game. We're actually just talking about stuff that we're interested in, and like
because there is such a thing as bad publicity,
Yeah, I mean, I guess what I'm trying to say is, if you're listening to us, you're hearing us. Like this is us.
Yeah.
There's no fake opinion or like there's no I'm saying something or doing something or there's no character there.
And there's no echo chamber either. Like we can disagree on things and we do all the time.
I'm trying to figure shit out tonight about like, your perspective from different era and my perspective from a different era. But yeah, it's not. but at the end of the day, yeah, I mean, this is us. This is how we are, and we're obviously okay with it. We like hanging out with each other. So,
and we're flawed people, folks. We're flawed.
right.
I'm flawed. I'm not going to sit here and say my perspective on things is right.
We're just trying
I'm
to
not.
learn.
I'm not right. I could be full of shit, 100%. And I have the right to change my mind.
Yeah. So, yeah. So anyways, I don't. But there are people that are doing great work here, and
yeah, Lopresti, you will not be disappointed.
Rainbow the Brute looks dope,
and also invest in Graham Nolan's works. I like what he does, but Aaron Lopresti, that'll be a good pickup for you for sure.
I'm looking forward to this. I'm gonna read the shit out of it. I'm not just gonna throw it on my stack of stuff.
I mean, maybe there could be a chance you won't enjoy it as much as I did. I really don't know. I just telling you my thing. I've liked every page of.
I mean, it's a supernatural Western. I think it's gonna be a pretty good read. I mean, yeah,
werewolves and vampires and things like that, and
yeah. I was looking at Graham Nolan stuff when he did the first came out with the Frankenstein a couple years ago when he was, I think it was like the BBC. He was interviewed by the As guy or Gary or Nerdrotic or whatever. And anyways, I was looking at picking that up, but then I mean, it's probably so different it doesn't matter. But I'm kind of paranoid that, well, I mean, we're already working on it. We have the script done. Like, I didn't order it back then.
If you don't want to try the Frankenstein, there is the Chenu, which is a good one shot, and there's also Alien Alamo. I like my favorite book is the Chenu of his so far, and then there's Ghost of Matatumbe Key, which is also good, but I like the Chenu. That's probably my favorite book of his.
Okay, I'll have to try that out. So the reason I didn't pick it up is because I didn't want to get. We're working on Victor, so I was like, I don't want to read another Frankenstein book and then have that in the back of my head while I'm working on another Frankenstein. But does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I get it. But that's why I would probably just direct you to the Chenu and just give that a try. And it's a kind of a, monster outside claustrophobic type thing, snowstorm, and it's pretty cool. And it's pretty much one shot and
cool. Yeah, I mean, like for the most part, these guys, like they've got some of their own logo and their own like self-published publisher stuff. So I don't know, maybe, I mean, if he's gonna start doing these newsletter kind of things, maybe I will reach out, just say, hey, like the way I would approach this if I reach out to Ethan is I would just say, hey, how much would you charge me for a spot right here between these two books to promote my book?
Yeah.
See what he said.
Yeah, that's a
right, because
can't hurt to ask.
Right.
The worst they can say is no.
Right, because then there's no bullshit. There's no expectation. It's, oh, okay, you want to be paid for your time? Okay, how much? How much do you want to be paid? Like, this is a business transaction.
Yeah. This business, we don't need to, we're not asking to come on your show or for you to do any artwork or for you to promote if you want. I mean, that's cool. We're down with it, but we're not going to bow or anything, but we'd like a spot because we support what you do, and we'd like, we think that your audience would definitely support what we're doing.
Yeah. And then it's just advertisement. So, and it's not, hey, hook me up because I want to be a comic skate king. I like all this is just the same old bullshit status. Like, It's like, oh, well, I don't know who you guys are. Okay, here, I'll send you a copy of the book.
Yeah, it's like once football
it,
season gets underway, my Mondays are going to be booked. So, see, there's something I watch that's still kind of woke and fucked up, but I still watch football.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's a hard one for them to capture, huh? Because as much as they want to bend the knee at the corporate level, like all the people actually watch football are going to be like, and it's mostly men, so they're like American men. So
and not only that, but sports is the ultimate meritocracy. You can't get rid of meritocracy because so many jobs and so much money is on the line. I wish other companies like the comic book industry and movies would realize that, because if you have a fucking shitty football team, nobody's going to come to your games. They're not going to televise you. Nobody's going to buy your merch. Don't matter how diverse your team might be.
Right. I mean,
and coaches will get fired.
Yeah, that's an interesting one, right? Because it's much more from the bottom up. Like the top down structure completely relies on. I mean, I guess it depends on what your perspective of bottom up is, but in my view, you have like the corporate structure, which is making all these decisions and running ads and blah blah blah, graphic design, commercial bullshit, and then you have all the players at the bottom. And if you just watch the roast of Tom Brady to get an idea of like where football players land and what their values are. Like they're basically 1 degree of separation from your average MMA fighter as far as like what they'll say and not being afraid to say it openly.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, Tom Brady can't be canceled.
Yeah, exactly.
Really.
And they have all the money and status, so they don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Anyway, so here's another email campaign I'm on from our buddy Eric. It's not our buddy. That was a joke.
That looks disproportionate.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy legs there, huh?
Yeah.
So here's
that's like Earl speaking of football, that's like old school Earl Campbell, like blasting into you with those 34-inch thighs and knocking the fucking uniform off you. If you ever saw that video, like
that's maybe why she there's all this blood all over the place, and then massive tits, which I'm not going to complain about. But
yeah, no, that's good. But look at her shoulders and compared to her hips. I mean,
yeah, that's the thing. It's like massive tits, but proportionately to the shoulder and then the arm and then the thighs, it's like something's not right here. And then she has like this crazy 6-pack going on. It's like uncanny. So like the massive tits, it's like, are those fake because you've like transitioned?
I don't know.
Like, hold on. Right, like that's a female body.
Yeah.
Right. Like she's in the midst of committing violence. She's obviously got female body proportions, right? She's got pretty big boobs too. Right? She's shapely. She's got the curves. She's got the look. And then you've got this. So
were they going for Jessica Rabbit look? Because it seems pretty derivative of Jessica Rabbit.
With like Black Widow or something?
No, Who Framed Roger Rabbit? That movie?
Yeah. No. I understand the reference. I'm saying what, like her and a mix of Black Widow from Marvel.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like those two combined, yeah. Wait, are her?
I mean, she's got an ass the size of Cincinnati.
Yeah, so this is like a super flashy email with like all kinds of graphics and stuff. I mean, I was telling you this before we got on stream, but like I mean, I can't see myself buying a Rippaverse, but maybe the Horseman, just for the lulls. But like,
the Horseman could be good, and I'm holding out. I think that's probably gonna be.
Yeah, unironically.
Well, I'm not going to say it's going to be anything.
Yeah,
it has potential to be good. How about that?
Of course, yeah, but holy shit, like I'm starting to get excited every time Eric announces something. Like I'm excited for this. I mean, I'm not going to buy it, so it doesn't help him. Like I'm not supporting like more girl boss bullshit training art
or whatever.
Also, so like before we get into the the criticisms and like then you have all the flashiness, but then it's like, is there any substance here? I don't know. Who knows? Like, why is there blood all over the page on the poster? Like, why is this she holding? This is a stupid question, but she holding a gun? I can't tell.
Is that her costume?
Who knows? Is it a lighter or is it a knife? What is she?
I don't know.
She pointing the gun at? It's got to be. She's pointing at this guy because the perspective is this guy.
Honestly, it might be a fucking lightsaber. The way this guy, rips shit off it's a power sword.
It's got to. Oh, yeah, it is a gun. I'm sorry. The perspective is like it's tilted down. It'd be so funny if she was holding it sideways.
Yeah. like a thug.
Yeah, just like Eric's like, oh yeah, that's how you hold a gun. I'm just kidding. He's in Texas. He should know how to shoot. But yeah, it's like the guy's getting capped on the ground there next to his dead buddy or something. So Asian shooting up the Asian guys or whatever. Yeah, but I'm starting to get excited about each Rippaverse because he's got a new character he's already announcing. So he just announced Bloodruth, and now he's announcing Sword. How do you even pronounce this? Is there a trailer we can watch? Where
go back up to it because it's Cyrese or
it's like Sword. No, because the I comes before the R. Soris?
Soris or
but the AO is like a sow.
I don't know if that was
intentional. I wouldn't be surprised if that was right.
Yeah, that'll be
or sour ass. Sore ass. Source. It's got a Sora. So
probably Cyrus. Just spelled in a.
No, there's no way. Oh, hey, Brian. That's cool. We can do this.
I'll have to watch a video of his to get it figured out. That's how fucked up some of his names are.
It's like, what are you?
Why not like Melanie or something?
Yeah, name her Melanie Mac. And then you could be like, oh, yeah, I get it.
Melanie Mac got back.
That's right. Melanie fucking Mac 10. Melanie Mac sign up for the Mac membership on Rippazine. So anyways, all right, I want to start criticizing this. It's like a knee-jerk reaction, but I'm not, because the only thing I'm really going to say about this is please, people out there, don't fucking spend $120 on this stuff. Like,
yeah,
holy shit, all of this shit is a complete waste of money. Like, if you want to support them and you're like, oh, I need an excuse to spend $275 for Rippaverse stuff, okay, sure, but like, just so you know, you're not getting any value out of this. Like, this shit is worthless.
You'll be able to go on eBay shortly after and get it for 20
$20,
15, 20.
Yeah, from all the other guys who are holding the bag on this. So I'm not going to say anything before we talk shit and laugh and have a good time about the actual whatever is here. Like, don't waste fucking money on this, please, people. That's my only hope.
Those Z numbers are ridiculous for any type. I mean, I might pay I've seen collections of old heavy metal magazines for that much, but there was a bunch of magazines from the 80s, and it was heavy metal magazine back when it was Boss. So that's what I would spend my money on. I go on eBay and look up, old Wizard magazines or Dragon magazines or heavy metal, whatever. I mean, to me, those have way more value than what he's asking for this.
And it's not like a newsstand where it's like, oh, this is like a. I mean, I think at least the good thing I think Eric is trying to do is. So he has short stories in some of these. So that's how you introduce the characters.
It's kind of like sort of Conan or something. God, buy those. Find old issues of sort of Conan.
There you go. Well, yeah, but like that actually makes it more of a, because then you could say like, oh, this is actually this Ripa zine, this little zine I'm putting out, is actually a key issue because it's actually the first appearance of however you pronounce this person.
Yeah,
of whatever of Soras. So yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty smart. So I'm going to give him credit where credit's due.
Yeah, I don't mind the idea of the magazine. My problem is the freaking price. Holy night, man.
Yeah. So the actual magazine's $7. Not the whatever bullshit collector edition. Not the fucking
ketchup. So $7 just for a is that PDF or is that actual?
$6 if you buy 1 and 2. So if you were gonna get 1 and 2, they're $6 each. So that's okay, sure. I don't know how many pages are in here. I have no fucking idea if that actually means anything. I mean, if you buy Hardly Heroes,
is it a real magazine or is it a PDF cop version of the magazine?
No, I think it's legit. I think it's an actual real magazine.
Well, that's not bad then.
I'm just saying, you get a whole 32-page comic book from us for $6. I don't know what is in here. Like, what could you? I guess in another email he says like there's an exclusive interview, so it's like.
So for me, I think it's like less bad art, more bad writing. So that's what you're gonna get.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean it's flashy.
Take your pick, I guess.
No substance. But he just, in my opinion, he has not earned this. Like, I don't give a shit if you're emailing the Sask twins. I don't really care if you're did I say emailing? I meant to say interviewing. If this exclusive interview is like, oh, an interview with Mike Barron, I mean, you have to be like a really big fan of these people.
Yeah, I don't care. No disrespect to Mike Barron, but
yeah,
like what?
And I just got done talking up his
When
stuff.
did you start in comics? Well, I started when I was a kid, and I was a fan of Spider-Man, and then I got on Punisher, and I had my first. It's like we all know this shit, and how did it feel working at the Rippaverse and working on Goodying?
Right? How'd that work out for?
Now, if he would have said something like, "Well, at that point in time, I had a 38 in my mouth, and I was ready to just." And then I'd probably buy it. Brutal. Once I got the call from Eric July, I knew my career was in the shitter.
Yeah, and then it's like ... but he always pays up front. All right. Remember this moment for if we come out with something like this. It's like a Shattermare annual, and we've got like, oh, here's like a spin-off crossover, but also here's an interview with the author. It's got to be like complete bullshit. Complete bullshit. Like, that's exactly what I want you to put.
Yeah, it's like I started my first comic after I got done fighting off the PLO in Los Gatos. And
And they'd be like, "Oh, and yeah, and I reached out to Brian, but we had our first call. It was really good, but you just wouldn't shut the fuck up. I think it was high on cocaine." So I don't. Oh man. And then that was fate, and the rest is history.
Yep.
Oh man, that's good. Now I want to do one of these. Shatter Zine.
Well,
doesn't have the same
someday
ring,
it might be worth it with the amount of titles coming out, but
yeah, exactly. Yeah, but that would be like a more like compilation. I mean, I see what he's trying to do here. He's trying to do kind of like the Marvel, where they do like the Marvel previews, and they're basically just giving a free catalog of the books that are coming out in the next few months. But they have to fill it with something. Like they gotta fucking put something in there. So they'll have like an interview with the shitty diversity hire writer on whatever 1500 book is coming out that'll only last for 2 issues before it gets canceled.
I mean, it's one of those things you read once and put aside and you're done.
Yeah.
You don't reread it.
I mean, honestly, it's one of those things I pick up for free. Like I don't pay for.
Yeah, you got those for free at the comic shop. They would put them in your bag.
So, I mean, I hate to tell him to not make money off of this, but like, shouldn't you just build this into the margin of a book you're giving out? Like, he just came out with Gooding. Shouldn't you just drop this in if they like spend a certain amount of money or something, or if the book sells a certain amount? Like that would be cool, right? Like, oh wow, I got this book. Like assuming Gooding was good. I don't know. I haven't read it. But I haven't really.
Well, kind of like a stretch goal,
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
He hasn't given away free shit. I think I got a bookmark with my iSun 2. So I know I got one free thing, a bookmark with iSun 2. I'm still waiting for my ride in his van.
Oh shit!
I need to get a colonoscopy soon, so I hope Eric or maybe the Saska twins
in the rape van. Yeah, I have to pick me up in your bang bus and take me to the goddamn doctor. Yeah, man, you gotta come to MegaCon with us next year if they're there again. I'll take you. We can go over to his booth, and I'll videotape you.
I'm not gonna be a dick in person.
I mean, you don't have to post it. You just ask him. You just do a little light trolling, Be like, hey,
dude,
bro,
dude. By that time, he'll be ready to fucking snap. Like with all the puppet shows and shit. Like he'll shoot the fucking place up, man. Like
go from 0 to 11 on your ass.
Yeah, exactly. He'll fucking just smoke everybody in the fucking joint. Take you all with me. No, and I'll be the one who's blamed. They'll show a picture of me on Friday Night Tights. Like, this is the guy that set him off. I asked one fucking question. You had like 2 years of puppet shows and trash casts, but it's fucking going to be my fault. No.
And we'll all be on the other side of the hall in Artist Alley. So
you guys have a bulletproof table.
Jump behind the table. Oh shit. He's going ham. I'll just hide behind I'll find fucking Heather Antos's booth and hide behind her stacks of books that no one wants to buy.
A couple of you could hide behind Mark Wade.
Yeah, that fucking guy. Any of those artists. Actually, I take that back. A lot of the guys I meet, they keep themselves in pretty decent shape. At least the older guys too.
Yeah.
It's the the usual suspects who are complete degenerate losers who are, fat and piece of shit. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about this. I don't know. It's fun. I get excited about the new release because remember, like a week or two ago, we just saw the Bloodruth trailer. It's like holy shit,
the teaser. Yeah,
the teaser. It's like you have this coming
out. It's probably the best thing he's done.
Yeah. So what? But now am I supposed to forget about the Bloodruth or what's happening here? Also, Yeah, see here she looks like a regular fit. I mean, they still have to make her look like a fucking bodybuilder with fake tits. Like, and then you give her this tiny little gun. Oh yeah, look, this tiny little like, what is that? Like a Walther or like a fucking 38. Made
it might be a 45 cal. It might be I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I see
probably
what
a
you're
9mm.
Yeah, I see what you're saying because it looks like a 1911 almost, but the barrel is like it should be like several inches longer.
Should be a 4.5-inch barrel. And
yeah, it looks like I don't know, like for sure a 9mm, maybe like a 22. I don't know, but I'm supposed to believe that made this.
Yeah, it doesn't line up.
Yeah. Also, the reason why when I looked at this at first, I was like, "Is this a gun?" Because let's be honest, like from this perspective, most artists embellish the size of guns.
Yeah,
that's why Deadpool has like Desert Eagles. They're fucking huge.
You got like get a Python or something like that.
Yeah, a Colt revolver or something. Because you want to make it look, oh shit, she just blew all these guys' brains out. But this thing is like, you're just gonna nick my vein. Like I could, like you could empty this whole.
Give her something that looks unique. Like give her some, like a nickel plated,
Sure, anything. I mean, to be honest, if she did hold it sideways, you'd be able to get a better look at the detail of the gun.
Or hold it up by her ear with smoke coming out of it or something.
Or like blowing the smoke away from the gun. Yeah, that'd be sexy, right? Like you hold the gun up and she's like blowing the smoke away.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. Also, should she have like a leg strap here under thigh? Because that's probably where she's
like
keeping this gun, right? Yeah, like a thigh holster under her dress. Whatever.
I know that looks like an uncomfortable way to stand too.
Yeah. Oh, look, she's holding it up there, like you said.
Yeah.
But she's also not holding it. What is this? The high ready. When you hold it, people don't really do this anymore, because from what I hear, it's a lot of motion, and she's like holding it out, so they don't know about that. But aside from that, I mean, I guess she could barely fit one hand around this, or massive hands. Maybe her hands are just massive, so the gun looks small and tiny, but she can't have like a regular.
That's not a good grip for one-handed shooting unless it's small caliber.
Yeah, it has to be. Yeah. I mean, why would you one hand this?
I would assume she's left-handed, but if not, what she have? She have something in her right hand there?
I don't think so. She was like making a fist.
Yeah, so
she had the other magazine, right? She holding another magazine? No, she just reloaded. Yeah, I don't know. Well, I mean, I can't trust them to actually know what the fuck they're doing.
No.
But this is interesting. This contains suggestive and mature themes that may not be suitable for younger audiences. Parental discretion is advised. You could open a parental advisory on this book. Does that mean that the short story in here is parental advisory? All right, let's read this. See if this came from Eric. See if you can tell if this came from Eric. Affluence doesn't inoculate a city from crime of any fashion, and in many cases, it only acts as a veneer to a seedier underground network of crime its denizens attempt to turn a blind eye to. In such cities, even those with a superpowered wing of the police force, kicking in a door or busting down a wall isn't always the answer. Sometimes, oh my god, what semicolon?
So there should be a new sentence there.
Yeah. Sometimes a more subdued approach is called for, with razor precision. Sore ass is that approach. Okay. I mean, you're leaving a lot of evidence.
No, that didn't read very well, and there was a lot of like, let's use the thesaurus for this other word. We're going to throw inoculate and veneer and blah, blah, blah.
A city from crime of any fashion. And you have words that don't really mean anything.
Yeah. And cerise is that approach. I would say cerise is the answer or something. Like make it
cool and dramatic.
Yeah, like remember that old movie Cobra? You know, crime is the whatever. Cobra is the answer, you know.
Cerise. Like that. I could see that. Cerise. Yeah, I mean, but also if this is supposed to be like a Black Widow kind of character, like, so is she working with Alpha Core? Because it's like, okay, you have superpower wing of the police force. Okay, but then are they awful at their jobs?
Yeah, I guess so. They don't have anybody who can actually do anything but use militaristic force. So she's the only one, I guess, who can do detective work. This ought to be interesting. Doesn't he have another detective that he's trying to promote? That other guy?
I don't know. Something maybe.
He has another guy that's kind of a rip off of the answer. And or the question.
I thought you were talking about ISOM.
No, I honestly I don't think ISOM has any role anymore in this universe.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe, yeah. But yeah, they're all kinds of generic versions of other characters you've seen before. Like
a person is not an approach. A person's tactics is the approach. But a person can be the answer or the solution.
Yeah, none of this makes any fucking sense. Like, you could also have saved this. You could have said this in like 3 sentences. Like,
yeah,
right. So it's like, if you're gonna be dramatic, you could say something like, let's see, not affluence.
Well, why does affluence? Is he? Can't he just say it? I'd have crime. I mean, crime is a part of city life, and
I'd just say like crime is a virus. Crime is a virus that spreads throughout the city. Wealth doesn't inoculate that city from crime, right? Boom. There's like 2 sentences. Or you could say like, if you want to be cheeky, you could be like, you know, affluence doesn't matter in a city where crime pays. I don't know, something funny like that.
And in such a place, in Underworld thrives, an Underworld network of crime thrives.
Yeah. Okay. Really, what you would say here is you would start it down here where it says like, with, not even those. You'd say with a superpowered wing of the police force, an underground network of crime has formed in Flores Park, or whatever this is.
Yeah, Flores Park.
In order to combat this, I don't know, underground network or
this growing underground network.
This growing, but you would say something like subversive. So you say like, in order to combat this subversive crime wave or this subversive network of crime, you need to send in somebody with that expertise. You know, you need someone that's familiar in subterfuge. Enter Cerise. There you go. Boom. That's it. 3 sentences.
Yeah.
This is too wordy. Doesn't make bullshit. Obviously, you'd have this. Like, that's fine. But Yeah, it's I don't know. It just Eric isn't taking any fucking writing classes. That's for sure.
Well,
Holy shit.
he doesn't have an editor. I mean,
nobody must look at this shit. I mean, doesn't he have people that send out these emails? Does he do this himself?
I don't know.
I don't know.
There has to be some sort of edit. There's still no editing going on.
Maybe they took this from like something he wrote. That's an excerpt from this. That's why this is different from like your typical, hey, Brian, Represent 2 is now available pre-order, blah, 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 blah. And then you have this weird bullshit. And then back to just like the regular marketing stuff. Well, you shouldn't thank me because I haven't supported you since I bought ISOM 1 and 2 from that comic shop. And apparently I paid too much for them.
Yeah.
So
I bought ISOM 1 and 2 and a cheap shirt.
yeah. So no, I will be not buying your preview magazine that you should. This is the perfect marketing for stores, dude. I don't know what the fuck he's doing. Like that's a lost opportunity, but I guess in his mind he's too good for retail outlets and distributors.
I guess.
Right? Like this is the perfect marketing material. You should go hand this out to the store. Be like, hey, you guys wanna subscribe to my Ripazine newsletter? And they're like, what do you mean subscribe? Like, am I paying you? And you'd be like, no. I just want to put you on the list to send you Ripazine. This is all the stuff that we're working on, and we've got, this is where we preview our new characters. And if you want to order the books, like we've got them for you. We've got obviously this one we're working on, and then you can order ISOM, I guess, or whatever. Alpha Core, Yaira, Good Yang. Like, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, so yeah. So these legit books.
So what does that 120 get you for that magazine? What do you get for that 120?
You literally just get a fucking graded signed version of a goddamn magazine.
Nothing else?
Like
no other books thrown in?
No. Nothing.
Wow.
Yeah, it's retarded. So I'm saying, people, if anyone's actually out there listening to me, do not order this shit. It's a complete fucking waste of money.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like,
don't go for graded, folks. We've already discussed that on a previous show.
So, okay, are you saving anything in here? Or is he just saving you the time of clicking 4 buttons? Like, so the collector's edition is 20. The regular one is 7. These two are $240. Well, increase. I'm guessing. I mean, I'm just going based off of this, right? So if you assume both of these are 120 and the collector's isn't more, so 240. This is 2. Okay, it's 27. Okay, so you're like 267 plus the poster. So I guess he's throwing in the poster for free or half off or something. Holy shit. Why would I spend almost $300? I could get I'm sure I could back almost every book here for that much money.
Yeah. And even some of the previous issues.
Yeah, exactly. You could easily get all 9 issues of Hardly Heroes like multiple times over for that much money. Fuck, yeah. You could get all 9 issues and a graded Hardly Heroes signed. Like, oh my god, who is buying this shit? Is anyone buying this anymore?
I don't know. I don't think the sales for Gooding was that good.
Yeah, you need to put out fucking books that people want to buy. Like, this is a waste of money, bro. I mean, it doesn't cost much to print this, but like, you had to pay people to put this together. Like this would take a little while to edit all together in like Illustrator or Photoshop. Just to get it ready for press, like putting all this in here, the font, logo, like big logo, and then whoever did the art, obviously, not even including. Although knowing this, it'll be like the art book, and then it'll be like 4 pages. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the short story won't have images. It won't be a comic. It'll just be like written. It'll be in prose.
Which I don't think will be a better trade-off. It'll probably be harder to follow.
Yeah, first of all, it's going to be written like this. So, yeah, this is, geez, dude. Like, the amount of overhead that you have to spend putting all this together and energy and effort and money, like, dwarfs the amount of money you could just make by producing good content. Because, again, like, in my opinion, he hasn't earned this. Like, if you read the heavy metal magazines like you're talking about, like what I mean, heavy metal produced books, presumably. Like what
not anymore. I think they went under. They went woke and then they went
right. I'm talking about in their heyday in the 80s. Like what was the appeal of getting the heavy metal magazines?
Well, I mean, there were stories and art, unique, sci-fi and fantasy stories and art.
Okay, so they're a little art book, little bit of story. So like,
you would get all these vignettes of different stories and different world building things, and it was completely unique.
Okay,
some of it was sci-fi, some of it was fantasy, some of it meshed the two. And it was just something cool. I mean, it wasn't mainstream as far as like, Spider-Man or Batman or anything like that. It was just, you really didn't know what you were going to get. And some stories would go on and on.
So it was almost more of an anthology than a...
Yeah.
Okay. So it wasn't like, oh, we interviewed the lead singer of Metallica and it's in heavy metal.
No. It was just, again, if you ever saw the movie, which you should. It was just like kick-ass fantasy, metal, like something you'd see on an album cover at the time,
Gotcha. Okay, cool. So, okay. See, that's interesting because then the appeal is in of itself. Like it has intrinsic value. You're getting stories out of that.
Yeah, I mean, there were certain characters and they would have ongoing stories and... when they like one of them was the scantily clad woman warrior went around it with a sword and she was badass and flew on it. And then they wanted to put clothes on her because, how dare you? And it just went to shit from there because they knew who their audience was at the time. It was male.
It's just
so there was a lot of erotica in it. There was it wasn't porn,
Sure. Yeah, it's I mean it probably thin line straddled the line of that. But I'm just trying to get a frame of reference of something to compare this to where I'm like, why in God's green earth would you charge money for this? Like what are you offering in here? So they've got a short story. Okay, it's a preview section of a sample.
But here's the thing: if it has something that you can't get from if you back the book, then that's a rip off of the customer who buys the book. Like, no, you got to buy this in order to know really what's happening, and that's bullshit.
I mean, that would at least add some kind of value. So you get some random bullshit, maybe an interview, no one cares, and then a short story, which may or may not be included in the full book or lead into that, or you have to read this. Okay. So aside from the new short story, and we don't know how many pages this thing is total, it's basically worthless in and of itself. Like there's nothing interesting about it's all stuff that's tangentially related to other Rippaverse stuff. Does that make sense? Like I'm just trying to figure out what the fuck is there even like what's the value? Why am I even why am I even buying this unless I'm just like, oh, I'm buying everything from Ripaverse?
Yeah, that's basically it. That's basically it.
Okay, well, sure, I guess, but for me, that's I don't. He's not. I don't. He's not like this.
And I don't know if the demand is there right
celebrity,
now, given his
shit.
sinking sales. I don't think the demand.
Yeah, well, I'm not in the cult of July, so for me, it's like, okay, it's a short story. Again, I may or may not get that in the full book. Why would I just buy the full book? It doesn't make any fucking sense. And I guess that it is what it is. It just doesn't make any sense to me. But I want to know who out there is buying this stuff, because how many people are like, I'm so invested in the Ripaverse that I want to buy a fucking preview magazine for $20, even the $7 version.
Yeah.
Like, why are you much less considering? Oh, I could get. Oh man,
it's basically like paying for a movie trailer.
Yeah, yeah. Remember when he was trying to sell the fucking Gyro trailer?
Yeah,
it's like, oh, it's in my for my subscribers, and then you realize, oh wait, I'm a retard. Like, how else am I gonna fucking advertise this book I'm trying to sell unless I put a trailer out? Like, I gotta monetize everything. Okay, well, I mean, that's not gonna work out for you. Can't monetize everything because people are gonna buy this dog shit and be like, oh, well, I already spent my money on complete bullshit. And even if I'm the largest Rippaverse fan, like, now I have no money to buy your actual book. So congratulations. I mean, I hope it's worth it. Like, obviously it's not, because it's not selling as much. So yeah, I don't know, man.
Interest has dropped. So we'll see what this does.
Yeah, so obviously it's not just me. Like, even the people that were most interested have fallen off. So why, like, Eric, why are you wasting your time on this? It just seems like a complete waste of time. Like, it should just be this. This email should be this. Hey, guess what? If you guys back, you'll get this poster, which is obviously a link to the campaign.
Yeah.
This, and by this I mean introducing Soros, not Ripazine 2. This is fine. This should be like, hey, now that you've read Gooding and you're excited for Bloodruth, you look forward to Cerise on the horizon or whatever. You know, like, hey, here's a sneak peek. And then you go, oh, cool, look at that. And none of this bullshit. None of this. This right here. You know, click here to pre-order now. Fulfillment. Or click here to be notified or whatever. Fulfillment starts on the 16th. Like, that's it. And then if you're going to have it for sale and pre-order, like, pre-order now. It should be the fucking book. The fucking book. Like, oh, by the way, you get a free 18x24 poster if you pre-order using this link.
Yeah.
Like, oh, cool, I get a free poster. Yeah, I'll check it out. You know.
Yeah, that might be worth it.
Or like you're saying, and if you go ahead and order now, like, the first, I don't know, 5,000 people or whatever, you're gonna get a free copy of Ripazine #2. You know, like this should go out with Bloodruth. And if you have to charge like $5 more to make your print cost back or whatever, it's fucking so be it, whatever. Like, throw this in there. People would be like, holy shit, I got a whole Ripazine with my Bloodruth. And then guess what? Like, they become collectible because people get them with the thing. That's it. And people are like, oh, I get this because and then you give it to your Max subscribers, which you're like clearly conning out of like $50 a month or whatever bullshit it costs. Because I could pay 50 or I could pay 7, whatever. So give them this shit and keep them entertained. I don't know. Okay, that's really all I have to say about that. I don't know. I'm excited for Wraith of God.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see how somebody will do a review of it, and we'll find out what's actually in it.
Yeah, I'd like to see a review of Gooding if that's out. But I mean, I'm most excited about that one, Blood Ruth, although I'm not going to buy them, and Horseman. I buy Horseman, ironically.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do a Horseman.
I'm gonna wait on it and see.
we should do a video. We should do the Horseman, like Horseman review Horseman.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Give you guys our honest take. That'll be fun.
We'll be honest.
Yeah.
I want to like it. So I mean, it's
by
good writer. Hopefully the art's tight. And
sweet! Breaking news: John from John's Long Box just hit me back up. So, hey folks, looks like we're gonna be on John's Long Box, and he said Wednesday the 28th at 7 p.m. Can you do that, William?
7 p.m. Pacific, Eastern, what?
Let me ask him.
Probably. If it's Pacific, probably. Yeah. If it's Eastern, for sure.
I know this is super riveting for a podcast.
All right. I'll be right back.
Okay. Damn. I won't have my setup by then. Oh well. Well, thanks guys for hanging in. I was testing you to see if you'd listen through 2 minutes of silence. Waiting for William to get back, but pretty sure we're gonna wrap up the show once he does, because it's almost midnight for me. So, but we had fun as always hanging out, and thank you guys for tuning in. It means a lot to me, and I know it means a lot to William. Well, wait for him to get back. Man, good times.
All right, I'm back. Did he
Cool.
Get back to you, or I think he's streaming right now.
Oh, okay. I just messaged him. I was just giving my closing statement because it's almost midnight, so I got to hop off.
Okay, sorry about that. I had to take care of some things.
No, you're good. I was just messaging him. So, but yeah, I just want to cover those. Talk about the indie books we're excited for. Ironically and unironically, but yeah, I'm gonna read Wraith of God when I get it in. I'll report back.
Yeah, I mean, I hope you enjoy it. If you don't, that's, be honest, but I think you'll like it.
I have
out of all the Comicsgate books I've supported quite a few. That is one of my favorite titles I keep up with. Many I've dropped by the wayside. I'm not going to mention any names.
Yeah, well, that's the problem. Is like you talk. Yeah, I mean that's the problem with being public and these guys with YouTube channels because you're what's the saying? You're throwing stones in glass houses. Like you're inviting a lot of criticism on yourself if you're dishing it out.
Yeah,
people are gonna give it back to you. It's I don't know if he's talked about it, but that might be some of the questions I have for John.
Yeah, I've heard he's had some issues with some of the folks
for giving a book a review. Wow, huh? How weird. Like you give a book a review and then people give you shit and circle the wagons and try to make you look like a dumbass.
Yeah.
To try to make and then turn everyone
Could you ask John if he uses StreamYard? Because that's really all I'm familiar with.
Yeah, I'm just making sure. I just asked him what time zone, and then I'll get more details and see what he uses. I mean, if not, what I've seen is typically people will use like OBS, and then they just use some sort of call-in. So it's like Zoom or Discord or like, I mean, we're pretty flexible.
I know Jimmy Reyes one time sent me a link. I couldn't get it to work. I think it was for OBS or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, they're just running some kind of video chat software like through their streaming software. So we'll see. I mean, I think most people use StreamYard at this point. It's convenient, and I'm not going to have my new setup. I'm looking forward to. I've been looking forward for like a year and a half of finally getting my office reset up, getting my camera and backdrop and everything, so we can do camera. And anyways, that's not going to matter for this because it's the end of August. So even if he's doing like Discord, we can hop on and just do audio only. So.
Yeah.
But
okay,
at some point, I think before the end of the year, like for Halloween, I'll be able to go video and have like the full Shattermare banner behind me, and
Yeah, we got to do a Halloween episode of just horror movies or traditions.
Yeah, that'd be fun. We'll come up with something. Just wear masks. I'll stream.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, and he's gonna be hosting Luke and Jason Bascom next Tuesday on his channel.
Nice. Yeah, I gotta watch. I gotta watch that review that we were just talking about. Gotta do some catching up to do. But yeah. I'm looking forward to it. So that's cool.
All right,
and,
cool.
He has all kinds of people on his channel.
Yeah. He seems like again, he's had some issues with certain others. I don't really disagree with him on a lot of the points he makes, but I also don't really chime in on Twitter because why put a target on yourself? But
yeah, exactly.
I don't know, maybe I should.
Yeah, maybe PR and stuff. We'll see. It got to be closer when we release the book. You're gonna do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'll be fun.
I'm not looking to making enemies or starting drama, but I've seen some of the things and and that'll give us a chance to talk about it. He seems like a pretty straightforward guy.
Yeah, and I'm glad I'll have you with me because you have a much more vast wealth of knowledge when it comes to comics than I do. So
yeah,
otherwise I'll probably sound like a dumbass.
And I'm like nothing compared to like Luke and some of those guys. Like,
true, but Luke also worked in a comic shop, so yeah. Although I guess before he worked in the comic shop, yeah, Luke's an animal. He's a comic beast.
All those guys, Shelby, and like their knowledge level is just. Whew.
Yeah,
some throwing around names I never heard of.
Like, yeah, especially when it comes to indie stuff. Shout out to my buddies Casey and Graven. They're locals. One's in Orlando, one's in Jacksonville. But whenever we get together and hang out with those guys, I love just hanging out and listening. Because they'll talk about oh my God, going so far back, Marvel, like early Image, DC, I think somewhat. But yeah, those guys know their shit. So I guess for people who are actively working in comics and collecting, that's a good thing. So, but yeah, so that'll be fun. So I'm sure we'll come up with some different stuff to talk about. I can always just talk about what it's like to do indie comics, and printing books and stuff. So you could talk about the writing and editing. Actually, it'd be funny if he's having Luke on, because then potentially you get to talk about the art and the writing and the producing of Mercenary Guild. So we'll have to. I want to listen to, I guess, the show. I don't know if he edits or if it's going to be a stream with Luke. I could see what he says, so we don't just repeat ourselves.
It'll be a stream. It starts around 6:15 with the two of them. I don't know what time John's gonna.
Okay, cool.
Fire them up, but your topic list usually.
It's on topic list. Okay.
Yeah, it's gonna be so. And I don't think he's sending out links, so people like myself and Shelby and Ink Spots and we're probably not gonna be a part of the show as far as panel.
Yeah, but we'll get the notification to watch it though.
Yeah. It'll be on John's channel though, so just
okay. Then I'll have to
hit the bell.
Yeah, fair enough. Cool. All right. Well, that was fun. We managed to figure out a head full of topics to talk about. And
I think we got in some issues. That's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. So cool, man. All right. Well, I guess we'll see you guys next time on Shattermare Live.
And thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Hit the like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff.
Yeah, if you're on X and you're a real person and not a bot, please go subscribe to our YouTube channel and like it, and hit the notification bell. Yeah, and sign up for email newsletters. Sign up for Mercenary Guild email newsletter and get a raffle for original art and stuff. Cool. All righty.
All right.
See you guys next time. Goodbye.
All right. Good night, everybody.